In Saskatchewan, the air is full of electricity for the Tiger Cats. AC has the Cats charged up and ready to strike. Matt Cody is a lightning rod for big plays. Winfield's been around forever. He's a veteran storm chaser. Saskatchewan has its share of ground pounders. Bobby Jurison leads a monster defense that believes it can bring the Cats back to earth. Give him a chance, and Bevel and the boys can deliver a few shocks of their own. Ladies and gentlemen, take your seats. The storm clouds are about to collide over the prairies, and someone could get hurt. In Saskatchewan, they say only two things matter, the crop and the riders. It's been a bountiful harvest so far, but the riders are heading in the opposite direction. The opposition today, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, are mounting a charge for second place in the East Division. Welcome now to Regina and to the CFL on CBC. I'm Scott Oak, and so it's come to this in the heartland of Canadian football. They're no longer taking rider pride for granted. Saskatchewan's lost 10 of its last 11 games and desperately requires a victory today to help restore the faith of the most loyal fans in the country. But it won't be easy against the Ticats, who have the hottest foot in all the land. It's connected to the leg of Paul Osbaldiston. Last week, he delivered the Cats to victory over the Alouettes with no time on the clock, and the week previous, he booted 8 field goals in Ottawa. You'd have to think the Cats would love to have this one come down to a field goal today. And you know what? I'm not even going to mention the Hall of Fame after that 3-hour infomercial on Dan Kepley last week. Kep and Don Whitman will describe the proceedings today. Kep, this Tiger Cat team looks nothing like the one that stumbled through a 6-game losing streak this season.
Not at all, Scott. This looks like the team that started the season, and they are a team to be respected. They are getting healthy at the right time for the run down to the playoffs.
Don, the Riders are desperate, as I say. Do you sense an upset here today?
I don't know whether there'll be an upset today, but the Riders firmly believe that they can still catch Winnipeg for the final playoff spot in the Western Conference. And they have Heath Rylance as their starting quarterback for only the 3rd time this season. He was injured. He suffered a concussion against Montreal on August the 11th. He was slated to start last week against Winnipeg, but there were still some medical concerns about Heath Rylance, so they opted instead to go with Kemp. But Heath Rylance is a young man they have a lot of confidence in. They feel he has poise and maturity and is developing quickly.
And a guy on the other side of the ball, Whit, Mike Saunders. This is a guy that got involved in the play and the game plan last week. 3 touchdowns, 2 by the air. They'll spread him out, try to get a mismatch on the linebackers. Watch for him to be a very big part of this offense today.
All right, Kep and Don, it's the second meeting of the season between these two. The Ticats won in July, led by Matt Dunnigan. He's been out for 2 months now, but his absence a lot easier to take with the way Anthony Calvillo played last week. Coming up on the B.F. Goodrich TA halftime report today, the amazing Ozzy, the story of the man who rarely lets the Cats down. Paul Osbaldiston relishes the opportunity to kick the game winner, and what's happened the last 2 weeks suggests that Ozzy thrives under pressure. Now today, he and everybody else at Taylor Field caught a major break. There is no wind of any consequence. It's a great day for a football game, absolutely made to order. The Riders looking for their first win since Labor Day. The Cats with a chance to reestablish a share of second place with Montreal, so there's a whole lot on the line. And here are Don and Dan.
While Don Sutherland firmly believes that his team can catch Montreal for second place in the East. And, of course, on the other side of the field, this game is vital for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Jim Daly still has hopes of overtaking Winnipeg for 3rd place in the West. And that is possible if the Riders win all of their remaining games and Winnipeg were to lose its remaining games. They got some help yesterday when Toronto knocked off the Blue Bombers 28-12 at Skydome. Paul Osbaldiston, the last play hero 2 weeks in a row for the Hamilton Ticats, preparing to kick off to get this game underway. This is the second meeting of the year between these two teams. The Hamilton Tiger Cats won the first game that took place in Iverwind Stadium by a score of 27-24. That was on July 14th. Saskatchewan in that game was down 27-14 midway through the 4th quarter. The Riders staged a rally, but it fell short. Their final drive, a sack and a couple of 2 incompleted passes. resulted in the Ticats prevailing. They're going to use sideline timekeepers. There is a problem apparently with the time clock, and referee Ken Lazaruk makes the final decision as he goes over and confers with the sideline officials and the official timekeeper. And now this game is underway as Paul Osbaldiston kicks off for Hamilton. Aaron Ruffin will take the ball at his own 15-yard line. Ruffin trying to come up the middle, and he is met by 3 or 4 Hamilton tacklers, and he's down at the 26. Joe Montford was the first man down there, limiting the return to 8 yards. Heath Rylance, the starting quarterback. As I said, Kemp, he was slated to start against Winnipeg last week, but a late afternoon decision resulted in him being scratched from the lineup because of some concerns about the concussion he had suffered back in August.
Well, this is the catchphrase these days. That term, the concussion, is going out throughout this league. Matt Dunnigan being a notable figure that's had some problems. This guy getting the opportunity, more importantly, the clear paper to start today.
He underwent further medical tests and received clearance on Wednesday to get the start. He's in trouble early. Montford trying to bring him down, and he succeeds, and that was a very awkward position for Rylance. He was bent backwards as he was being brought down. He was attempting to continue to complete the play, and as Montford made contact with him and he went down, Rylance was in a very awkward position, and it looks as though he has injured a leg.
What a tough start. This guy right here, Montford, has been really a key player in this Hamilton defense, but now getting the opportunity to have Rylance get the start, and then on the very first play gets caught in that very awkward position. The knee is backed up, but this is a guy on the sideline that I saw in the early part of the season that came off the bench when Tracy Ham was injured for Montreal. Jimmy Kemp can get the job done.
It looked as though, Dan, as though Rylance wanted to throw quickly to Farthing, but Farthing wasn't looking back to the quarterback, and here's where the problems developed right there as Rylance had Montford roll over on his leg, and Montford was in pain. You saw it immediately. Montford had a tough game last week against Montreal, as Coach Don Sutherland said, probably his worst game of the year, but the opening penetration by Montford, and this is something they said they would do. They would send the linebackers after Rylance. They wanted to take him out of the game, but not this way.
Not exactly. What they wanted to do, they wanted to put the heat on the young quarterback, force him to have to throw the ball quickly or throw it under pressure. What happens there when you play that kind of really pressure defense coming off the edge, as Montford did, you play great, solid press, man-to-man defense behind, and this is what Hamilton can do. They can stand up and cover the receivers of Saskatchewan.
Boy, it's been a tough year for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Dr. Alexander is out to take a look at Rylance. The concerns with Rylance since the August 11th game, the concussion he suffered against Montreal. They had a visit with a number of specialists before it was finally determined that he would be able to play this game, and he only has one play of a concussion, but this seems to be every bit as serious.
This is Montford right here. He's usually lined up in the middle. He comes over to this side, and then he's going to come right off the edge. Take a look at it. They try to G out. They get Mikowski out. He does a good job staying in a contained rush, and then that's when he wraps up the knee and the ankle of Rylance.
So Jim Kemp comes in to take over at quarterback on 2nd and 22. He's under pressure early, throwing deep for Mayfield. Just at the last second, it was deflected away from him. Robinson got back to knock it away, but Kemp attempted to go for broke on a 2nd down play, and Robinson came up with a solid defensive effort for the Ticats.
Halfback blitz coming from the weak side. Hamilton certainly had in their game plan says, we're going to get after him, we're going to turn the heat up, and we're going to do it early.
Well, that was the strategy of the Ticats coming into this football game, to try and put pressure on the young quarterback, Rylance. Brent Mattich with the 3rd down kick. This is a good boot. Cody has to retreat back to his own 30, still having problems. The ball is loose. Saskatchewan claim they've got it, but let's wait for the official signal from the field. Yes, it is Saskatchewan ball. Scott pointed out in the opening, these have been the most loyal fans in the CFL over the years, but they've been disappointed in the performance of the Roughriders this year. But they have something to cheer about on this third down punt by Brent Maddich that Matt Cody cannot control.
You've got your sure-handed receiver back there, just misplays the ball. There's no win factor today, so it was just a miscue on Cody's part. The main thing he's got to do, he tried to stay on the ground, pick it up, and continue to run. Once you bobble that ball, you feel the heat coming from the coverage team. Get down on the ground, recover the ball first.
First and 10 Saskatchewan from the 30. The handoff inside to the leading rusher in the CFL, Robert Mims. The only man over 1,000 yards this year as a running back. And he picks up just a couple of yards. Jim Kemp comes over to the sidelines for some help in his play selection. Paul Christ is the offensive coordinator for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and Coach Jim Daly says that he has done a tremendous job working with these young quarterbacks and getting them ready to play in the CFL.
He really did. He played him a great compliment and said he's one of the best teachers that I have seen for young quarterbacks to work with.
Second down, a little swing pass to Mims coming out of the backfield. Mims, great arms, young, but then Tom Gerhardt comes over to take Mims out of bounds, well short of the first down. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders will send out the field goal unit.
Good solid defense that Hamilton came into this game with over the past 2 weeks have played extremely well. That the addition of Brent Young makes them even better. Zone defense, they have to dump it off to Mims. Young comes up, just stalls Mims ever so slightly, then gets some help by some of his teammates to knock him out of bounds, forces the field goal situation.
Paul Hamilton knows all about injury because they have had 17 players out of the lineup this year. 11 of them were starters. Jagus with a field goal attempt of 32 yards. Kemp holds, there's the kick, it's good, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders are first on the board with 12:26 remaining in the opening quarter here at Taylor Field. Well, it was turnovers that proved to be the Roughrider undoing last week in the game against Winnipeg, giving up 21 points to the Blue Bombers and suffering a crucial loss here at home, and it's a turnover that enables Saskatchewan to draw first blood this afternoon here at Taylor Field.
Well, Don, here's the information on Heath Rylance. He's got a torn left knee medial collateral ligament. No surgery required because they don't do it for that injury anymore, but it's the season for Heath Rylance. So Roughriders down to Jimmy Kemp to hopefully finish this game, and I suppose next week Marvin Graves will come off the practice roster to be number 2. But it's been an extraordinarily tough season on the young quarterbacks in Saskatchewan, and this game off to a very tough start for Heath Rylance and his mates.
Well, you mentioned the name Marvin Graves. He spent some time with the Hamilton Ticats this year. He arrived in Regina earlier this week. Of course, he's not suited up for this game, but with the injury to Rylance, they are running short of quarterbacks in the Saskatchewan capital, and I'm sure Graves will be in uniform against Winnipeg. This is long on the return. He stopped at the 25-yard line. Sheldon Benoit was there to make the tackle. That was a 6-yard run back. Benoit has excelled on special teams for Saskatchewan. Anthony Calvillo, the hot hand in the CFL over the past 2 weeks. He had an outstanding game against the Montreal Alouettes last week, and as a result, earned CFL Offensive Player of the Week honors. His efficiency rating as a quarterback is tops in the league.
Better yet, he's got the great respect of his receivers. Earl Winfield paid him the ultimate compliment. He says as a quarterback, he could be the best pure passer in the league.
He completes the pass to Jason Phillips for a gain of about 8 yards. Aaron Ruffin was there to make the tackle. This is the way the Hamilton Ticats line up offensively. Dave Hack, a newcomer at the right tackle position. He came out of the camp of the Buffalo Bills. Earl Winfield had a number of key catches in the victory over Montreal. He didn't get it in the end zone himself, but he made it possible for teammates to score the points that enabled the Ticats to come from behind and win 39-38. Second down and short. The running game hasn't been very strong this year. They hope it will improve with the addition of Mike Saunders to the lineup, and Saunders does shop and pick up the first down.
It is first down.
Defensively, LeBrant Robinson, according to Coach Jim Daly, is having an outstanding year and might be one of the best inside people in the league. Nick Ferguson is a new addition at the linebacking position, but he and Terrell Ulmer might be shifting spots during the course of this game, and I think a lot of times we'll see 6, maybe even 7 defensive backs in there for Saskatchewan.
You're exactly right. They'll bring Ulmer up and put Ferguson back on the corner.
Wide open is Matt Cody, and he's gone. Anthony Calvillo continuing where he left off at home last week against Montreal. He fires the 74-yard touchdown strike to Matt Cody. The CFL's leading receiver adds to his total. For Cody, his 10th touchdown of the year. He came into the game with 1,044 yards. He has now gone over 1,100 yards, and that's his longest touchdown catch of the year.
This offensive line is getting better for the Hamilton Ticats, and when it does, that quick release that Calvillo has, miscue in the secondary, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and you cannot leave this guy alone at all. He's best when it's covered, but when he's wide open like this, he can make things happen. Calvillo will stand in there, take the shot to make sure he delivers the ball on the money.
Well, he took some shots last week against Montreal, but he did stand in there, completing 27 of 36 for 443 yards. And he's off to a great start against Saskatchewan as Osbaldiston adds the point after for a 7-3 Hamilton lead. The Ticats believe they can catch Montreal for second place in the Eastern Conference. Montreal with a victory over Edmonton on Friday night. The Ticats trying to keep pace with them. They will have played one more game than Montreal. But over on the Saskatchewan bench, Jim Daly's plans for this game have gone awry with the first play injury. The quarterback keeps on.
So these are two coaches and two teams that had to make great adjustments through the course of this season because of injuries. A lot of times when they had, particularly Hamilton, they lost 3 quarterbacks at one point in time. Saskatchewan loses 2 quarterbacks. They had to reduce their game plan considerably. Coach Daly was so excited that with Rylance in there and starting this game, that they could expand their offense and their game plan. And obviously now it has to go back to a reduction again for Jimmy Kemp.
Well, Jimmy Kemp did not have the benefit of going through a Saskatchewan training camp. That was one of the problems he is going to have as the season moves along and draws to its conclusion. Aaron Ruffin in big trouble, and Ruffin dives back across the 17-yard line. Only a 4-yard return after that 60-yard kickoff. But you know, Dan, today at the hotel, despite the fact that the Roughriders have been having such a tough time winning football games, we ran into a busload of fans who are Rider fans from Red Deer, Alberta.
From Red, they are all over the place. It's a bus that comes in there. Once you become a Rider fan, I mean, you're there for life. And these guys are here, do or die, to support this team.
Kemp will need some help this afternoon if he is going to keep alive the faint playoff hopes of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He gives to Robert Mims, and Mims gets across the 20, a pickup of about 4 yards. Justin Ring was there to make the tackle. Hendrickson has moved to a more familiar guard position with Paul Vida moving back to center up front for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Don Narcisse trying to keep his record intact and extend it even further, catching passes in consecutive games. Narcisse lines up wide to the left. Kemp to Farthing, and Farthing will be very close to a first down. I think this was a very similar play to the one that Rylance attempted to execute when he was hurt on the first play of the game.
And what it did, the defense was a little different. It allowed Farthing to be able to move and get a quick pass inside the movement, and will come up probably just a little short of the first down, probably about a half a yard or so. But this is the kind of thing that a young quarterback or any quarterback against a pressure defense needs to do. Throw the ball quick, be able to rush the ball with Mims, some play action pass, freeze that defensive line and that linebackers slightly, buy a little extra time, and you can see how short they are. And at this point, hey, in come the big horses, and see they can go for it.
Well, the Roughriders have to pull out all stops, and even though it's early in this football game, 9-12 remaining in the opening quarter, they have to take this gamble on 3rd down and inches.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, I had a chance to talk to Lancaster in Edmonton, and he was talking about quarterback sneaking, you know, 1st and goal on the 1 or 1st and 1 for a first down. He said, hey, the way it lines up now, he said, I can quarterback sneak it. I can make a first down. So why can't some of these guys do it on 1st and short or 2nd and short?
The give is to Mims, and he gets across the 30-yard line for a first down. That is a dangerous play, though, Dan, when you hand off in the backfield, because if there's any penetration at all, you could be stopped. But the Ticat defensive line could not make the penetration. Jesse Small returning up front. Justin Ring, the young Canadian, in his rookie season, doing a fine job at the linebacking position. And as Dan mentioned earlier, Brett Young has returned to a defensive back spot.
But getting back to what you said, but it is. You're second and short, but don't hand it 4 yards deep in the end zone and hand it at an angle where the defense can react to you.
Donald Narcisse extends his streak. Penalty flag in the play. This will probably be a face mask call against Don Robinson.
159 games for Don Narcisse. Great athlete, one of the athletes, one of the receivers that in this league that just does not get the kind of recognition and the justice that he deserves.
Well, he almost very quietly has moved into third place.
Danger foul, face mount, Hamilton, number 9, first down Saskatchewan.
Third place on the all-time pass reception list, and before the year is out, he will probably overtake Rocky DiPietro for the number 2 spot behind a former teammate, Ray Elgard.
Quick movement just to hit screen, but just look at the footwork that he has, trying to work hard to pick up some additional yardage. And here is a big key for Jimmy Kemp and this offense. This big thing, possession drives, make first downs, keep your defense off the field. They've played too much this season.
Good fake inside by Kemp. Kemp is throwing deep, looking for Mayfield. Oh, it's knocked away just at the last minute by Brent Young. That pass just hung there a little too long. Mayfield was waiting for it, and that enabled Young to come across and knock it away.
Anybody that's ever played defense or played defensive back or linebacker, when you know a guy's got behind you, you may have blown the coverage a bit, you drop that head, you get into some panic speed.
Donald Narcisse was wide open on the sidelines. He was looking for the football, but Kemp opted to go instead to Mayfield.
Well, Mayfield was wide open. He was downfield. The ball was just slightly underthrown, and also Brent Young makes an excellent effort closing on the ball to get into the play.
Kemp will operate from the shotgun on 2nd and 10 at the Hamilton 47-yard line. Going deep once again, looking for Mayfield, and it's off his fingertips. 3 times in this opening quarter now, the Riders have attempted to go for the bundle with Curtis Mayfield, but they haven't been able to put the football in his hands.
This is a defense that's not going to give up that home run ball too often. What they want to do is get you in that second and long situation. They did that, and they are successful in putting on some pressure to Jimmy Kemp. The ball just slightly overthrown. Curtis Mayfield almost makes the circus catch.
Matic has improved as a punter this year because he has shortened his steps. And this is a low driving kick that will bounce out of bounds. No opportunity for Cody to return it. And when we come back, Hamilton will scrimmage 1st and 10 from their own 16.
Well, how far removed does this day seem from Tuesday when winter struck Regina, and no one hated to see this more than the farmers, whose crop prices are diminishing. And of course, like most self-respecting commentators concerned only about themselves, I worried for 4 days about what to pack for this trip, and then divine intervention, a break in the weather to produce this glorious fall day. If there are fewer fans here than expected, Don, it probably has something to do with the harvest and how you have to make hay when the sun shines.
And the sun has been shining most of the day. It's been shining mainly, however, on the Hamilton Ticats thus far in the football game. And their quarterback, Anthony Cavillo, throws to Earl Winfield for a first down up to the 42-yard line. Coach Don Southern was saying that in the game against Ottawa, when Cavillo returned to the lineup, there were about a half dozen plays in the game where he had receivers in the seams wide open. But because he had not had any game action for about 6 weeks, he wasn't able to pick them out. He began picking them out last week against Montreal. He's continuing today against Saskatchewan.
Nothing better than have that veteran working over the zone in the middle with good time up front. Cavillo could have a field day if Saskatchewan doesn't get the heat on him.
That was a 28-yard gain. This pass is picked off. Dave Van Bellingham, the safety, was there to take it on the deflection off the fingertips of Matt Cody. A 17-yard run back for Van Bellingham on the interception. Cavillo was not picked off last week against Hamilton, and it looked as though this one was going into the hands of Cody, but it was just a little high.
Cody worked wide open over the middle, just can't get vertical enough to pick it up, the tip drill, and Dave Van Bellingham comes up with his first interception of the season.
Hey, Grandma, Winnipeg, how you doing? Everybody back home in Kenora. Joe and Tori and Jane.
Well, he spent some time back in Kenora this summer. A beautiful spot on the Lake of the Woods. And he gives Saskatchewan the football as Rod Harris, who in the event that something happened to Kemp would be the backup quarterback, the number 3 man on the Saskatchewan roster. He has a pickup of about 5 yards. Harris played some quarterback, but a while ago when he was still in college.
Been very dominant as a punt returner and a kickoff returner, but when he gets the ball on the outside, can make a lot of things happen. Tries to work, get back against the grain, but he's going to hit it right against the traffic, and that's where all the pursuits coming from. They stop him for about a 5-yard gain.
Harris, 47 receptions this year, but he has yet to score a touchdown this season. Kemp on second down has Boyko wide open. This is the Saskatchewan first down as he takes the ball to the Hamilton 33-yard line. Kemp is now 5 of 8 for 41 yards.
This is a smart quarterback. He plays within his ability. He takes what the defense is going to give him. He's patient enough to sit there. He'll nickel and dime you, and then if he gets a chance to take it for a home run ball, he'll take that opportunity. But he is a possession-type quarterback. He can get you first downs. He can keep your offense on the field and your defense resting.
First and 10 from the 33 of Hamilton. Handoff inside to Robert Mims. Mims waiting for the blocking to set up, and that's something he does very well. He will just hesitate that fraction of a second to wait for the blocking to develop, and he picks up about 5, maybe 6 yards.
Well, this is a guy that carried the ball 24 times for 180 yards earlier in the season against the Edmonton Eskimos, arguably one of the best defenses in the league. Counter trap. Jesse Small comes all the way from the backside to try to get involved in the play. But number 99, Michael Philbrick, comes up with the tackle.
4 times this year, Robert Mims has run for better than 100 yards in a game. And as Dan mentioned, the big game against Edmonton where he picked up 180 yards. And Mims on second and about 4. Looks as though he'll be very close to a first down, at least close enough for Ken Lazaruk to call for a measure.
And you know, yesterday when we sat and talked with Coach Daly, I happened to mention that about rushing the ball for 180 yards. And he was very quick to say, but that's the exception. You know, that could be the exception. I don't want that to be known as the norm. Well, I would be thinking that if my offensive team can go out there and rush 180 yards against a best defense or one of the best defenses in the league.
Some might say the best in the league. Yeah.
That's right. So why can't you go out there? If you can do it once, you can certainly be repetitive with it and do it again the next week. And that's what I think that these guys can do. They have the ability to do it, so therefore put it in your mind that you're going to do it.
Another third down gamble for Saskatchewan. The second time that they have been forced to try and retain possession on 3rd and short. They were successful the last time. Let's see if they can duplicate that feat with 3:50 remaining in the opening quarter, and Hamilton leading by a score of 7-3.
Take the snap and bury your head right behind Bite and go straight ahead.
Well, don't go up high. Bury your head, as Kemp said. Linebackers love that.
Oh,
the quarterback is
we got a chance. The center's going to snap, and he's going to dive at your legs, and it leaves this whole body of a quarterback that the guy like Mumford is going to come over, and just like a saber or an arrow, he's going to try to stick his helmet right in Jimmy Kemp's chest.
Close enough to remeasure, but it looks as though Kemp did get the first down. It's going to be close. Ooh, half the football. And Jim Daly breathes a sigh of relief.
Take a look now. Watch Jimmy Kemp. He's standing straight up. Boom! Michael Philbrick just goes right up over top of the center Vida, gets an elbow on him, but it's lucky that Kemp has the second effort, and he gets that ball across and makes the first down by just slightly.
First and 10 from the 23. Kemp throwing to the end zone. Narcisse is open. Touchdown. The third touchdown of the year for Donald Narcisse as Saskatchewan puts together a fine drive under the direction of Jim Kemp. The third touchdown touchdown reception of the year for Donald Narcisse, the 61st of his CFL career.
We get the safety here. This is Sampson. He's going to try to cover all the way across. Doesn't get a chance to get there. He's late getting behind as Robinson gets taken on the fake. It's an out and up, a little hitch that they've run earlier, and then they send Narcisse downfield. The ball hangs up.
Jagus adds the convert, and with 2:39 remaining in the opening quarter, Donald Narcisse has put the Riders into a 3-point lead. Donald Narcisse scoring the touchdown that has moved Saskatchewan in front as they capped a 47-yard drive in 6 plays with the 23-yard touchdown toss. Kemp to Narcisse. Time of possession is interesting in this first quarter. Saskatchewan has had the ball for 9 minutes and 25 seconds, almost 3 times as long as Hamilton. But 2 turnovers of Hamilton in this opening quarter. Ted Long brings the ball back to the 35-yard line, an 18-yard return.
Well, Don Narcisse averaged 7 catches per game last year. His average is down this year. It's not that he's not been able to catch the ball. It's that Rider quarterbacks until today couldn't get it to him.
When you have young quarterbacks, you got to give them a lot of time. You got to rise to the occasion. And unfortunately, we haven't been getting that done. And you know, we've been struggling all year, so it's time to pick it up. We're going to make a few changes on our offensive line and go from there. But it's time to get our job done. The defense is doing a very good job, and it's time for us to pay it off and help him out.
Well, the defense has been doing a pretty good job, and pretty good coverage by Vincent Donaldson on the pass down the sidelines for Earl Winfield.
Being the kind of passer that Calvillo is, he throws the ball vertically as good as anybody in the business. He likes to get the ball downfield. Having a chance to chat with Winfield before the game, he thought that we'd be able to maybe utilize it and take advantage of Vincent Donaldson and take him deep quite a bit this afternoon.
John Jenkins, the architect of the Hamilton offensive scheme, being executed by quarterback Anthony Calvillo. Over the middle is Jason Phillips, open for a first down. He takes the ball to the 48-yard line, but there is a penalty flag in the Hamilton backfield. That was a 38-yard strike from Calvillo to Phillips.
Holding, Hamilton, number 63. Second down, repeat it.
The gain to the chagrin of Don Sutherland wiped out by a holding penalty. The newcomer, Dave Hack, in his first game in the CFL, guilty of the violation.
Offensive right tackle has been a tough position for the Hamilton Ticats. Started off with Morgan, had him injured. Last week was Black. He played 1 game. Footwork not quite up to what Don Southern wants. And now Dave Hack out of Maryland gets his first start and his first penalty.
Calvillo operating from the shotgun under some pressure. Now he'll run with the football. And Calvillo takes a solid hit from Greg Battle as he goes down just shy of the 35-yard line. 1:28 remaining in the opening quarter, and Hamilton will be forced to kick it away.
When you mention the name of that man right there, Greg Battle, Jim Daly's eyes just light up. They think that he is the most professional athlete that he has ever had an opportunity to be around. His ethics, his philosophies, his work habits have just elevated this whole Saskatchewan defensive team and probably the whole team itself to another level.
Not only does he perform in the field, he's a leader in the dressing room. This is the 150th CFL game today for Greg Battle.
Hey, this is a man that's 32 years old, and he's going out there throwing his body around. If you're 26 years old, you better keep up with the old guy because he's going to make it tough for you.
Aaron Ruffin takes the third down punt by Paul Osbaldiston, but he's surrounded by white and gold jerseys. A 9-yard return, and there's an incident taking place behind the play. Benoit was involved, I think, with Greg Eaglin. And there's also a Ticat player down. It looks like Greg.
I think you're right, and it looks like the way that he was handled, he reached back very quickly to grab that back of his hand. You can see that left hand of his grabbing the hamstring area.
Major foul, face mask, Hamilton, number 28, first down, Saskatchewan.
Andrew Grigg is the injured player. The penalty call against Greg Eaglin, that altercation he was involved with.
Well, these are a couple of things that Coach Southern has worked on and trying to work on. He's got to have a concern of is silly discipline penalties like that. A couple of big penalties last week against the Hamilton Ticats allowed Montreal to stay in the game and create a pretty big lead. Fortunately for Hamilton, they were able to come back in the end, and Ozzie kicks the field goal. But you've got to play smart, particularly going down the stretch, and get yourself conditioned because you cannot make mistakes in the playoff. It's a one-game shot.
On the pass over the middle a few plays back that was completed from Cavillo to Jason Phillips, I noticed that Phillips went limping off to the sidelines, clutching at his hamstring, and now it appears as though Grigg has suffered an identical problem. It's been a really rough year for the Hamilton Ticats when you talk about injuries.
Coach Southern, he said jokingly that he was so excited now because he can actually put his list of injuries on regular notebook paper. He said, early part of this, he said, I was using legal-size paper. It took me to write all day just to write down the people that were hurt.
And 11 of them at one time were starters.
Now, you can imagine having that many starters, all three of your quarterbacks go down, and you still have a chance. And you're in second place right now, but you're making a big run at Toronto, getting ready for them in the playoffs.
Hamilton showing that Narcisse lines up wide to the right, and perhaps recognizing that, Kep may have taken a little extra time, and well, there was a procedure call, Mikowski.
League of procedure, Saskatchewan, number 60, still first down.
Mikowski may have also noticed that Montford was getting set to come, and as a result, it's a procedure call. Bill Dole is the offensive line coach for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. It's an entirely new coaching staff with the exception of Richie Hall, the only man still in the same position as a year ago.
Well, I think what I asked him when I talked to Coach Daly yesterday, I said, Coach, your offense is sputtering a bit. Is that part of having a first-year offensive coordinator in Cripps coming out of the college system? He said, Kep, he said, really? He said, we have a first-year total staff. Greg Marshall was here last year as a D-line coach. He's a defensive coordinator for the first year. Richie Hall, meaning, was the fact he coached the DBs last year. He's coaching the DBs this year. He's the only guy that maintained the same position.
2nd and 15 for Saskatchewan. The Riders backed up at their own 51-yard line. Here comes the heat. The ball is dumped off to Mims. Mims gets a block. He's got some running room down the sideline. Robert Mims takes the ball deep into Hamilton territory to the delight of this crowd at Taylor Field. That was a pickup of 47 yards.
Robert Mims, just an excellent job. Just on the outside here. Watch the block that comes in inside. Mims is going to slide out, and that allowed Jimmy Kemp to get that ball to him. A lot of heat. He's going to stand in there, take the shot from Keith Embry, but now the blocking forms down the field, and Mims does a good job.
Hand off again to Mims as he tries to go off left tackle, and he'll pick up about 3, maybe 4 yards before being stopped on what appears to be the final play of the opening quarter here at Taylor Field in Regina. A sunny afternoon, and to the delight of the Rider faithful, their team leads by 3. To start the second quarter, it is 2nd and 8 for Saskatchewan. The ball is at the Hamilton 18-yard line. Statistically, the Ticats scored a big touchdown on a 74-yard pass to Cavillo, from Cavillo to Mac Cody. But the Roughriders had the ball for more than twice as long as the Hamilton Ticats in that opening quarter, and I think Jim Daly has to be encouraged by the fact that his team put together a couple of pretty good drives.
They're doing, and they're playing extremely well. The up-front guys are buying some time for Jimmy Kemp to get the job done.
They've had problems all year along the O-line. There's the pass complete to Boyko, touchdown! bought time for Kemp, and he found Boyko wide open for the major score.
Yesterday, Jim Daly felt it was really important to get Boyko back into this offense, not only as the fullback, but to utilize him as a receiver. And they did an excellent job because he has the speed and the good hands of a guy that you would anticipate being a slot back.
For Bruce Boyko, his first touchdown of the year. He was a draft choice of the Roughriders back in 1990. Went briefly to Montreal this year in the dispersal draft, and then returned to the Saskatchewan Roughriders and scores his first major of the season. And with Jagus adding the point after, the Roughriders now enjoy a 10-point cushion.
Terrific effort by this offense. This is a great thing that they can do. The confidence building that Jimmy Kemp has brought to this Saskatchewan team. Goes out there, plays within himself, makes some good play action pass, hits the quick ones, takes it deep when he has to, just to challenge you and make you respect him. But his main goal, pick up the first downs, keep the ball in his hands, is the best defense against Calvillo and the Ticats.
Kemp and Boyko combining on the touchdown, capping a 5-play, 58-yard drive.
All right.
This is not a small guy. I mean, Boyko's in there. He's about 6'2", about 220, 225 out of Western Michigan in his 7th season. Terrific addition. One of those kind of guys that you just don't pay a lot of attention to until you see him cross the goal line with the ball, and you say, where did he come from?
And that may be what the defensive back was trying to find out from assistant head coach Urban Bowman. Where did Boyko come from? How did he get so wide open? Or maybe it's Bowman who's asking the question. Cody on the return, a loss of 6. Veteran Bobby Jurison. I think he came into the league the year you retired, didn't he? About 11 years back?
1984, Bobby was in there. This is a guy that has taken on the responsibility of running this defense himself. He takes the defensive signals from the sideline. Greg Marshall's going to call it to him. He gets the front calls. Van Billingham gives the coverage calls in the back end. If everybody on that Saskatchewan defense plays to the level of a Bobby Jurison, look out. This would be a dominant defense.
Greg Marshall, the defensive coordinator you talked about, looking on. Cavillo fakes, throws over the middle to Cody, and Cody will have a first down at the 30-yard line, tackled there by Greg Battle. You mentioned Bobby Jurison. Jurison ranks number 4 all-time in the CFL in quarterback sacks. There's the signal from Greg Marshall. And now Jurison and the defensive unit will try and react.
Bobby's just had he's just a great athlete, and he's a good person, but he's had to go up and down in his weight. He's gone from 260, now he's a rush in, he's down about 230, 235, still maintains his strength, and he's got a great heart.
Rob Crefo is in there in place of Jason Phillips, and this is Ted Long on the receiving end of the throw. A gain of 13 as he takes the ball up to the 43-yard line.
Watch Bobby Jurison come off the corner. Little stunt to the outside. Going to move, get to the inside, work hard, try to get upfield, rush hard, get in the face of Calvillo. As number 96 is there, I mean 46, that's Troy Alexander. Does a good job putting the heat. Bobby occupied the tackle and the guard.
First and 10 Hamilton. They are at their own 43-yard line. Pass was deflected at the line of scrimmage. It was Gary Rogers who got his hand up to knock it down. He was signed as a free agent by Saskatchewan. He was originally in Montreal, but was released by the Alouettes when Peyton signed with the team.
Goes on the contain rush, gets to the outside shoulders of Hack, and then does an excellent job watching the quarterback Calvillo's arm, watches the release, gets the left hand up, knocks it down. That is good, solid defense.
Second and 10 for Hamilton from their 43. 12:24 remaining in the second quarter. Cavillo looking over the middle, and Earl Winfield makes another great catch at the 47 of Saskatchewan, brought down by Benson Donaldson, a 20-yard gain. When in trouble, why not go to the man who wears number 1?
You call Earl the Pearl in and say, anytime I need help, It's a crucial situation. This is a guy, just like any receiver, he wants the ball. He wants the opportunity to make something big happen. He wants the pressure on him, and he goes up, he'll battle you, he's physical, and he will come up with the big catch in the crucial situation.
Over the middle, and this is Saunders. The first time they've gone to Saunders in this football game, but they really like his versatility, not only as a running back, but his ability to get open as a receiver. He had 2 pass reception touchdowns last week against Montreal. This is a gain of 17.
What they do, they spread him out, they put him on the outside, then run it across the field. The Saskatchewan defense trying to match on him. When he's out there, even though the Cavillo doesn't throw to him, you have to respect his ability.
5 completions in a row for Cavillo. This is basically a 6-receiver set. Penalty flag is down. It looked as though Rob Creefo moved prematurely the pass to Winfield, but I think it's going to be called back. Winfield took it into the end zone. It looked as though Rob Creefo may have jumped prior to the ball being snapped. Let's wait for Ken Lazaruk to explain. It is procedure. Hamilton.
Good call, Whit.
League of procedure. Hamilton, number 79. First down repeated.
Well, Don Southern can only shake his head. Rob Creefo coming into the ball game as an injury replacement for the starter, Jason Phillips.
He's another player started off with Montreal at the beginning of the year, getting an opportunity to play now. Big, tall, rangy target. 6 receivers out, empty backfield set, 4 to the top of the screen.
Cavillo looks over the middle. Saunders loses the football. Saskatchewan's got it. I think they're going to rule it a catch and a fumble, and Greg Battle comes up with it. Saunders made protest that he didn't have control of the ball, but he had taken a couple of steps with the football in his possession.
Same pattern that he caught about 3 plays earlier, where he's going to line up on the wide side, come across the formation just from the right of your screen. There he's got it in his hands. It goes right through. There could be a question that he did not have complete control of that.
Well, the Saskatchewan Roughriders will have the football when we come back.
After the kind of day you put in, all you want to do is fall into a nice, comfortable easy chair in a quiet place. Of course, sooner or later, you'll have to go home.
My brother wanted to be a cowboy, but me?
Andrew Salvaggio, McDonald's executive chef, food enthusiast, and the man who actually created the Arch Deluxe.
All of the ingredients are just the start of a great burger. Crisp leaves of iceberg lettuce. The stone-ground mustard sauce. The soft, comforting potato roll. I'm in the zone. All layered together in one symphony of taste. I made it for you. I love being a chef.
McDonald's Arch Deluxe, the country's favorite new burger.
And not just because of the hat.
Tickets in the Edmonton General, Grey Nuns, and Recordia Hospital Foundation's Home Lottery 96 are selling fast. Over 50% of the tickets have been sold. You could win one of these 3 furnished grand prize show homes built by Jamin Master Builders, the incredible early bird prize package, or any of 2,280 prizes. Your chances of winning are better than 1 in 20. Visit one of these outlets, the Edmonton General, Grey Nuns, or Misericordia Hospital, or call one of these numbers, and thank you for your support.
Well, Saskatchewan fans are certainly familiar with the abilities of Mike Saunders. He played here for 3 years. His big year was 1994 when he ran for 1,205 yards and caught 55 passes for another 613 yards. But his fumble gives Saskatchewan possession, 1st and 10 from the 24-yard line. Handoff to Robert Mims. Mims with that search play, looking for the blocking to develop, and he searched and found 11 yards. Darrell Sampson made contact with Robert Mims, but not before he ran for 11.
Here's the big key. Watch Pooch Henderson come in here, get the block upfield, and then Mims is going to take the ball, get it back up here, and does a great job. Turn it upfield, nobody to block. Mims finds the open area, cuts it back across the grain, runs right through a couple of tackles. Big, powerful, strong legs.
One of the strengths of Robert Mims, being able to wait and find his blocking. Now Kemp throws over the middle. This one is too high. It was intended for Curtis Mayfield. He was open, but the pass incomplete. It will be 2nd and 10. Darrell Sampson playing at the safety position as a starter with the injury to Rob Hitchcock. He was hurt last week against Montreal.
Jimmy Kemp would love to have that pass back. It just sailed on him. High release on that. The ball took off, floated outside and above the hands of Mayfield, who was wide open in the seam.
Saskatchewan has converted 3 of 7 second down opportunities. Too high for Donald Narcisse. He was being covered on the corner by Derek Greer, so the Riders will be forced to kick it away. You know, Kemp came into the game on the 2nd play for Saskatchewan to replace the injured Heath Rylance, but the plan of Jim Daly was to have Kemp play some in this football game.
Well, he thought if Rylance was having some problems, he said, I have no qualms whatsoever sending Kemp in there, letting Rylance come to the sideline, sit for a couple of plays, watch what the defense is trying to do, but don't be mistaken. Rylance is my guy. He will go back in, and no matter how good Jimmy Kemp does.
Well, it's Jimmy Kemp's ball game now with the injury to Rylance. Cody taking the Matic punt on the run, and then he is dropped by 4 Roughriders after a return of 5. That was a 35-yard punt. 8:58 is the time remaining in the first half here at Taylor Field.
Combination of superior skill. Bring your ticket and stop to the timekeeper.
One of the newer additions to the roster of the Hamilton Ticats, Dave Hack, out of the University of Maryland. He was at the Buffalo Bill training camp when he became available. The Ticats had been keeping their eye on him. They quickly signed him to a contract, and he's starting today against Saskatchewan. Phillips back in the ball game, and he makes the catch. Air Ruffin is there to catch him. A gain of 9, very close to 9.5, actually. Let's see where they spot it. Close enough to call for a measurement. Doesn't look as though they will. It will be 2nd and short.
Hurry up offense by Cavill, trying to see if he can eliminate any type of defensive calls by Saskatchewan.
Swing pass to Saunders coming out of the backfield. And Greg Battle tracks him down, but not before he picks up another 7 and a Hamilton first down.
Anthony Drawhorn, playing in the secondary, came up, thought that he wanted to see some interference, call some blocking downfield on that swing pass to Saunders. This guy right there, what an all-around athlete he is. You can run him, you can put him in the middle, he runs tough inside, he can run the ball outside, and he has great hands to catch the ball and terrific speed. He runs about a 4.5, 4.6.
Second quarter has been the best this season for the Hamilton Ticats. Almost a pick play as Thornton makes the catch for a pickup of about 5, maybe 6.
You say that with a little smirk on it, almost a pick play. Anytime you get that hitch screen coming outside, the slot's going to go to the, it's going to be a pick. It's just whether you get called for it or not. The main concern is that slot has to go out there and at least look like he's running a route, but he's going to get a hip action or a bump or something on the corner to try to keep him off of a guy like Winfield who makes the move back to the inside.
I was trying to be diplomatic, but as a linebacker, I knew you'd pick me up on that. Thornton again. He's got the first down. He'll get to the 30 of Saskatchewan.
Here's where Cavillo and this offense is so deadly. They have weapons all across the board. You have Thornton, Winfield, Cody, Phillips, Saunders. Who do you throw to? Like he said, I only have one football, and everybody has to be happy about that. Defensively, it makes it so tough for Saskatchewan because you don't know who to double up. Everybody else can get single coverage. You take Winfield out of the game, the other 4 receivers are going to kill you.
Well, the Ticats have almost abandoned their running game as Phillips takes the toss for a pickup of about 5. And one of the things that Don Sutherland spoke about yesterday is that with all the receivers he does have, maybe his fastest receiver of all, Marcus Grant, is about set to return next week.
Well, that's exactly right. And he says, this is the first time. I like this kind of problem. How to get a great player into my lineup rather than trying to find a player because of injury.
McGinnis, Long Island Ice.
Cavillo has completed his last 8 passes, 5 on this particular possession. Now it's 6 with Thornton taking, or Long, I should say, taking it out of bounds for a first down.
And see, there's a name we haven't even mentioned that much. That's his second catch of the game, but he's another weapon that is out there. So who do you think about that you've got to try to cover? Defensively, it puts a lot of strain on Greg Marshall, who's the defensive coordinator for Saskatchewan. He says today, as being a linebacker, I know for a fact, if I was playing today, I'd be obsolete. I'd be on the sideline because you have to have one of those defensive backs in there that can run all over the place. That's why it's a great compliment to that guy right there who can get the job done, Greg Battle.
Well, Greg Battle has his work cut out for him as Cavillo spreads his receivers. Here's the safety blitz. Cavillo read it, throws to the corner of the end zone. Penalty flag. Saunders was being interfered with by Anthony Drawhorn. Although Drawhorn would seem to indicate that it may be offensive interference, but it is against Saskatchewan and Drawhorn.
Forward pass interference. Saskatchewan, number 8, intentional. First down, Hamilton.
First down, Tiger Cats.
Drawhorn's right in the chest and the face of Mike Saunders. Does not give him an opportunity to get to the football. Tried to make a point of, defending his case. Not very well, though.
So it is first and goal for the Hamilton Ticats. The ball is at the 1-yard line. Cavillo's going to keep, but he won't get there. It looked as though the ball came loose, but I think the whistle had gone.
Well, Van Bellingham, the safety, jumps up there and tries to rip it out of the hands of Cavillo. Saunders comes over just to protect his quarterback. But again, Cavillo doesn't, when he takes the snap, he doesn't make a big explosion of trying to get behind that, to try to get that ball in the end zone. He's kind of very tentative about getting it. He's behind the big center, Doug Davies. That's 275 pounds a man right there, and he can get the job done. Dip that head and get into the end zone.
He's going to throw. Looking for Long. I don't know about that. Third and our second and goal from the 1-yard line, and throwing on second down.
Well, it's somewhere it's become a fad. If Jenkins in this offense, the run and shoot, constitutes that you have to throw the ball a lot, that's fine. But you get it down to the 1-yard line. You've got a guy like Mike Saunders in your backfield. You got as good an offensive line as up front. You should be able to cram it right into the end zone.
Third and goal. Cavillo will keep. He's there. He just broke the plane as he reached out. Oh, that was close.
Yeah, I don't like that call at all. I think you got to get it all across somehow. He threw the ball out there with his hand, just grabbing the tip of it. And as a defensive player talking, I don't go for that.
Well, I know that Jurison didn't like the call. Cavillo appeared to be stopped, but he reached out, and you'll see in the replay, he appeared to break the plane with the football.
Stopped initially. That's Bobby Jurison that comes out. His knee is down on the ground. The ball touches and crosses the plane after the knee touches the ground. Let's figure it out, buddy. I don't think so.
I think there are people here in the stands at Taylor Field and on the Saskatchewan bench who would agree with you, Cap.
Hey, I'm not that stupid. I know which colors I'm going to wear over here in Taylor Field.
Osbaldiston had the point after, and again, it's a 3-point game. Anthony Cavillo, who has completed 14 of 18 pass attempts for 227 yards, just managed to break the plane and put the ball in the end zone, although Dan Kepley still isn't convinced that he made it.
Please come over to the timekeepers area.
Aaron Ruffin on the kickoff return. And he's upset at the 25-yard line. That was Greg Eaglin there to limit the run back to 14 yards. Let's take another look at it, and Dan, you describe it.
Well, here's the play. Bobby Jurison is going to come off the corner. Okay, right here he is. He's going to come hard. Now, all I want you to do, and we'll stop it as we go along the way, you've got to make the call. Cavillo gets tackled. Durson is there. The only thing I can see is right here, stopped. Right there, his knee does not actually touch the ground, but the ball has not crossed the plane yet. Then it finally, on the second effort, he's able to extend it and get the arm out. I don't think that's a touchdown.
Ken Pico is the man who made the call. Here's Kemp being pursued and cut from behind by Embry. But he still managed to pick up about 4 yards. The thing they like about Kemp is that he is a very intelligent quarterback. He understands the system. He just has to move along that learning curve, and they feel he has the maturity to become a very good quarterback in the CFL.
And Whit, speaking of moving, that's what he has to do. Come out there and spread that defense out a little bit, force the corner, move out there, make those defensive end respect him a bit, and it'll buy more time for him.
3:19 remaining in the half. Little swing pass to Boyko. This will be stopped well short of a first down. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders will be forced to kick it away as Justin Ring came over to make the tackle.
Not quite a good decision by Jimmy Kemp to throw that ball so quickly. If you've got Hamilton in his own defense, they're starting to drop back. You've got to bait them. Stay in that pocket a little bit. Let them get to their complete deep drop. Then when you drop it off to the fullback, you give him an opportunity to make a little something happen to pick up 4 or 5 yards. When you dump it off so quickly to him, the defense does exactly what defensive players do. They react, get over there, and make the tackle.
For the most part this afternoon, Matic has been below his seasonal average of 41.8 yards per kick, but this is a beauty. Cody takes it back at the 30-yard line. And Cody got blocked right into, or Ryan Carey, I should say, got blocked right into Cody, and he's able to make the tackle. 2:47 remains in the first half. The Riders lead by 3.
One last time around, I promise.
Sure.
Introducing the Acura 1.6 EL.
Wait, just 2 more minutes.
Oh, yeah. Acura, designed with purpose, driven by passion.
When it comes to shopping for auto parts, come into UAP Napa because you can trust your local UAP Napa Auto Parts store for superior parts availability, expert advice, and friendly service. UAP Napa. And watch for UAP Napa's Fall Essentials Flyer. Sale is on September 30th through October 26th. So when you...
Welcome back to Taylor Field in Regina. There's Paul Osbaldiston still waiting for his first chance to kick a field goal today on the BF Goodrich TA halftime report. We'll spend some time with Ozzy. We've got an outstanding feature on Osbaldiston, a Tie-Cat hero many times over. I think you'll get an idea of his commitment to the Cats and Hamilton. We'll also look at how Calgary and Toronto won, and we'll have some introspective, deep, meaningful analysis of the first half here. Failing that, we'll just talk about it. Don?
Well, Scott, Paul Osbaldiston relishes the opportunity to kick a pressure field goal, and he has done it the last 2 weeks for a victory over Ottawa and a victory over Montreal. Cavillo had some problems with the exchange from center. It will be 2nd and 10 for Hamilton. The pass went incomplete with 2:33 remaining in the half.
Well, this is the situation that Hamilton wanted to try to get Saskatchewan in 2nd and long. They'll put the heat on. Look for some heat from Saskatchewan against Calvillo.
Pass is complete to Phillips, but Phillips is going to be short of the first down by about 3 yards.
Number 2, Phillips.
Dan Rasevich, the veteran linebacker, was right there to make the stop.
First one
Well,
over
you talk
there
about
was,
veterans in the CFL. Rasevich has been around for 13 seasons.
Raz has been in here 35 years old. He's just like that. You've got Greg Battle at 32 years old in the middle. I asked him yesterday. I told him, I said, boy, do you put a lot of pressure on us young guys? I mean, we only played 10 years. There's the guy in there, like you said, 13 seasons, and he is getting the job done. He's as healthy and as strong as he has ever been in his career.
He was a draft choice of Ottawa back in 1984. Spent time with Ottawa, Toronto, and Montreal. The bulk of his career right here in Saskatchewan. Paul Osbaldiston, who will be featured at halftime, launches this 3rd down punt. Rod Harris takes it. Harris Gets the ball up to the 53 of Saskatchewan with 2:01 remaining. A 14-yard return after the 34-yard kick.
And by 45, Tom. And that's exactly what his average is. He came into the game 14.7 yards per return.
Balderson had a funny line when the team came out on the field for the pregame warm-up. You and I were talking to Miles Gurrell, and he said, "What's the matter, Miles? Finally found some guys your age you can talk to about the game?"
Saskatchewan, 53.
I think he was referring to me.
Well, no, I think he was referring to both of them. Ozzy's one of those young punks. He's only about 32, 33.
Donald Narcisse will get a Saskatchewan first down.
Saskatchewan offense playing with great confidence right now. Come into this game, a lot of pressure on them to get some things done, start preparing for next season. And this is a guy that has taken them a long way for a lot of years, Don Narcisse.
First and 10, Roughriders at the Tiger Cat 46.
First and 10, Saskatchewan. The ball is at the Hamilton 46-yard line. The Riders under the direction of Jim Kemp following the first play injury to the starter, Heath Rylance. Robert Mims gets some room down the sidelines, and Sampson prevents him from going all the way. That is a run of 25 yards for Robert Mims.
One of the most effective plays that they've had, the counter trap. And when you can give it deep to Robert Mims, you see Big John Terry pulling, also Scott Hendrickson. He gets outside, makes and does a good job of setting up his block. Then he's got terrific speed, break it to the outside, and the power to run over people and put stiff arm out, pick up an extra 3 or 4 yards.
8 carries for Robert Mims now for 56 yards. First and 10, Saskatchewan. The ball is at the Hamilton 20-yard line. It's Robert Mims again, and he dives through to the 15. This will be a pickup of 5 with 1:26 remaining in the first half. Saskatchewan leading by a score of 17-14.
Kemp showing a lot of composure out there. Great play selection, running the ball inside, freezing that defense. Wouldn't be surprised right now if you see a little play action with that quick release. Look for an inside slot, either Farthing, possibly Harris, on a quick slant pass.
3 receivers wide to the left. Here comes the pressure. Kemp gets it away into the end zone. Touchdown to Mayfield.
But it looked like when that ball was released, it was just thrown up for grabs and actually overthrown the intended receiver. Watch Mayfield work inside. He gets inside Greer. Ball hangs up a bit. Great concentration. Gets his body in between the ball and the defender. Long stretch of arms out and is able to make the reception away from the defender. Jim Daly, the first guy to get his hands in there and say, hey, good effort. That's the way to go, baby.
Well, the Riders have been attempting to get the ball into Mayfield's hands since very early in this football game, and they finally put him into the end zone. His 4th touchdown of the year. And with the point after by Maddox, the Riders now have a 10-point lead.
Mayfield comes into this game, or came into this game, 7th in the CFL in yardage. Big game earlier in this season against the Hamilton Ticats. He only had 3 catches, but it was for 115 yards. Ball hangs up ever so slightly again, but good body positioning by the receiver, an experienced guy out of Oklahoma State, and Kemp. Very exciting, very happy guy.
You talked about Mayfield having a limited number of catches, but picking up better than 100 yards. He's been a big play man for the Riders this year. For example, in a victory on Labor Day against Winnipeg, he only had 3 receptions, but they went for 189 yards.
This is a guy that makes it happen, and the thing we talked about, you know, is some of that stat that may happen, the yardage after the catch. And that is a big thing. What happens after you make the catch to pick up those additional yardage?
Long on the kickoff return. Had problems handling the football, gets it back to the 34-yard line, a 15-yard run back, 59 seconds remaining. Finlay, who leads the Riders in special team tackles, was downfield to make the stop on Long on the kickoff return. Well, Cavillo is certainly capable of making things happen in a big hurry for the Hamilton Ticats. He has has 59 seconds to either put them in the end zone or put them within the field goal range of Paul Osbaldiston.
Yeah, he's not afraid of throwing that ball down the field and getting it up in the air, but I can guarantee this Saskatchewan defense is going to be in a bit of a prevent defense. They're not going to give up the home run ball, make them throw the ball up in front of them.
7 DBs in for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. DeVio operating out of the shotgun. Got it away just in time, and Thornton is there to make the catch as it was Battle coming in on quarterback Cavillo. And Thornton takes the ball down to the 44-yard line, a 35-yard pickup.
Third play that they're going to throw into the seams. Sprint, throw back to the seam. Thornton does an excellent job getting in between the halfback on that side, Aaron Ruffin, and the corner, which is Ferguson.
The clock ticking down. DeVio again operating from the shotgun. Looks right. Throws over the middle, intended for Thornton. Again, it was deflected. There's also a penalty flag.
Aaron Ruffin's going to get called for interference.
Incomplete. Penalty marker.
Cavillo is slow in getting up. He took a hit just as he released the football. He looked to his right, pump fake towards the right, and then came over the middle.
Forward pass interference. Saskatchewan, number 33, intentional. First down, Hamilton.
Two big plays like that. Greg Marshall trying to inspire his guys on the sideline. You can see the call getting made there. And here's the throw after the release. Number 93, Timothy Edwards in there. Gets twisted around in the ankle of Cavillo, but he's okay.
32 seconds remaining. Cavillo was under pressure. It's intercepted by Terrell Elmer. T.U., as he is affectionately nicknamed here in Regina, snuffs out the Hamilton drive with 24 seconds remaining in the first half.
And Mike Saunders comes up with a touchdown-saving tackle after the play. But as you say, T.U. does it up just right. Baited a bit, stayed off and sloughed off a bit. Cavillo's throwing, he's backing up. There's not a lot of heat on that, trying to get the ball to Ted Long. Ulmer picks it up, Long doesn't, and there comes Mike Saunders in to save the touchdown.
Well, against a team that relies primarily on the pass, the Riders felt they had a pretty good defensive scheme coming in here. They are using 6 and for a lot of this football game so far, 7 defensive backs.
And one of those backs, Van Billingham, was applying the pressure there, came on the safety blitz, got in Cavillo's face.
Kemp looking to go for broke. Tries to dump it off short to Donald Narcisse. Directly in front of the Hamilton bench, and you may have heard some of the players at the Hamilton bench saying, no catch, no catch. Don Sutherland was one of them.
Jimmy Kemp does a good job getting outside of containment there and finds Narcisse. You can take a look, the training staff having a conversation with Anthony Cavillo on the sideline just to make sure that he's okay.
13 seconds remaining. Penalty flag in the play. The pass was intended for Donald Narcisse once again. He was being covered by Lewis.
Procedure.
A procedure call against Saskatchewan. 10 seconds show on the scoreboard clock.
Legal procedure. Saskatchewan, number 51, still second down. Would you please reset the clock to 15 seconds?
They will reset the clock. Paul Vida, the center, was guilty of the procedure call.
Now, if I'm a coach right now, 15 seconds to go, you got a 10-point lead to go into halftime. You got Robert Mims in the backfield. Give him the ball. Run this clock out. Do not let anything silly happen like a fumble or a sack.
Well, obviously down at the Saskatchewan bench, they're tuned in, Kep, because that's exactly what they do.
First one down, 99, Mike Gilbert.
That's that hearing aid I got. I pick up what they're saying. I can pick up Tokyo on some of that radio station, but I can hear that stuff on the sideline. It's an advantage, you know, us older guys, you know, like that have to take advantage of sometimes.
Now Jim Daly trying to call a timeout. This will be the final play of the first half. Kemp throws complete to Farthing at the 40-yard line. But time has run out on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And they will head to the dressing room with a 24-14 lead, thanks to the fine work in the first half of their backup quarterback for the afternoon, Jim Kemp.
And give credit where credit is due. Jimmy Kemp was only able to do what he was able to do in that first half because of those big horses in the front line.
Well, will Anthony Cavillo be able to bring the Ticats back in the second half as he did last week against Montreal? Now let's join Scott.
All right, Don, Saskatchewan leading at halftime, and Riders head coach Jim Daly joins us from the sidelines. Jim, you've talked a lot about your young quarterbacks. With the way Jimmy Kemp played in the first half, were you looking into the future, do you think?
Well, certainly, you know, our young quarterbacks have been playing as hard and as well as they can all year. We've had 3 young guys, and Jimmy right now is just executing the offense as well as we can expect from any veteran, and we're really happy with his play and with the offense.
Nice recovery, but what did you think in the first 30 seconds when Heath Rylance went down?
Well, I guess we didn't have time to think too long. We've had so many quarterbacks go down so often this year that we're sort of used to it. It's not a great moment, but we just immediately go into the next thought process, which was to get Jimmy ready, get the play ready, and we'll look after Heath medically and see how bad his injury is after. But we don't have time to think about it as soon as he's hurt.
Jim, I thank you for your time. Let you go and join your team. And so it's Saskatchewan 24, Hamilton 14 at halftime. The BF Goodrich TA halftime report is next from Taylor Field.
CBC. This year, more than ever, television to call our own.
Closed captioning of the CFL on CBC is brought to you by UAP Napa Auto Parts, the right brand for the job.
CBC. This year, more than ever, television to call our own.
The BF Goodrich TA halftime report continues from Taylor Field in Regina with the Riders leading by 10. With a month to go, the Argos have already taken care of first place in the East. They did that yesterday at Skydome at the expense of the Bombers. Doug Flutie to Robert Drummond for 6. Argos got 24. They're 28 points in the first half. The final was 28-12. Finest regular season in memory for the Argos, who are 12-2 and have the security of first place with a month to go. Stamps had a chance to take a giant step towards clinching first in the West last night. They needed this 17-yard touchdown from Jeff Garcia in the fourth quarter for some breathing space. The final at Frank Clair Stadium was 31-24. The Stamps go to 11-4, 4 up on the Eskimos, each with 3 games to go. And now here are Don and Dan to address the proceedings in the first half here at Taylor Field. And Jimmy Kemp comes in place of Heath Rylance. Looks like $1 million, I think, because he's getting time.
Well, that's exactly right. He's doing a good job up front, the offensive line, but he's making great play selections, running Mims enough, play action passes, and hitting the hot passes to slow that defense down a little bit.
Don, this is a great game with 2 teams marching up and down the field.
Somewhat similar to what we saw last weekend at Iverwind Stadium in Hamilton. The Ticats started strongly with Anthony Cavillo combining with Mac Cody for a 74-yard touchdown strike. And I'm sure many here at Taylor Field at this time, Dan, were thinking it could be a rout.
They say, here we go again. But in the last part of that half, the Saskatchewan offense comes back, led by Jimmy Kemp, buys the time, good protection up front, lets the ball sail just a little bit on him, but Mayfield goes up and takes it away from the defender Greer.
3 touchdown passes in that first half for Saskatchewan. Boyko, Narcisse, and Mayfield on the receiving end of Kemp throws.
And was Anthony Calvillo down before he broke the plane of the goal line? Hamilton's second touchdown. I think these 3 officials are unanimous that he was down, and that's probably the best reason of all to let the point stand. And so it is the Riders leading by 10 at halftime. That's the BF Goodrich TA halftime report. Second half coming up next from Taylor Field.
The CFL on CBC. Brought to you by BF Goodrich. Show them your true colors.
Well, Jim Jim Kemp, after just one play, came into the football game as the quarterback of record for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Anthony Cavillo started for the Ticats. He was also shaken up a little in the first half, received some treatment in the dressing room during the break. And the Ticats are hoping that he will continue to function as he did in the first half in the second half of this football game. Harris on the return brings the ball back to the 26-yard line. Dan McAlonen was there to make the tackle. Some impressive totals statistically. 269 passing yards for Hamilton, 188 for Saskatchewan. As I mentioned earlier, Hamilton has pretty much abandoned the running game. They're relying on the passing arm of Anthony Cavillo to get the job done. Saskatchewan has been on the ground more, and why not when you have the league's leading rusher in Robert Mims.
A big noticeable figure also, 4 turnovers for Hamilton in the first half.
Donald Narcisse makes the catch up at the 30-yard line. This will be a pickup of 4 yards. Gary Lewis was there to make the tackle.
It's important right now also for Jim Kemp, I think, to come out and establish himself that he's going to throw the ball to the outside. He's not afraid to. He can stretch that defense. They're going to have to concentrate. That's going to open up that quick throwing game inside, or also if he catches Hamilton in the zone, allow guys like Farthing and Harris to work over the middle, find the soft spot in the zone. Here comes the blitz from the outside.
Joe Montfort read perfectly by Kemp, and Kemp finds Narcisse for another first down. 6 catches now for Donald Narcisse. He's just 2 catches away from 700 on his career. This is the way the ball was thrown by Kemp in the first half. Narcisse was his favorite target.
1st and 10 on the 41.
But the touchdown strikes to Mayfield and Boyko were big weapons for the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the first 30 minutes of play. It's 1st and 10 Saskatchewan from the 41-yard line. Handoff to Robert Mims, and Mims will get about 4, maybe even 5 yards as that wall to the right side. But the ball came loose, and it's recovered by Hamilton. Although one official is coming over and saying, no, the play was whistle dead.
They're going to give a big argument there. He thought the knee was down. Mims was laying there and thought he was down on the ground. You can't make a decision right here. The fumble takes place, and Hamilton comes up with a big recovery.
Mims protesting that he was down. Well, in that pileup, it's difficult to see whether or not the ball did come loose.
But it sure looked like it at the top that it did come loose before he hit the ground that time. Good play, heads-up play by the Hamilton defense.
Saunders on the sidelines, and he was battling with the defender, Ferguson. A 17-yard pickup for Saunders.
One of those kind of patterns where the ball is intentionally, it looks like, thrown behind the receiver. Saunders does a good job of coming back to get it, and you can see the distribution that Anthony Cavillo has. He throws to all his weapons out there. As a defensive team, it is hard to concentrate or double up on just one guy.
Cavillo in a game last year against Birmingham threw the ball 60 times. He throws again, looking towards the end zone. Thornton was the man in the end zone in the foot race with Ferguson, and Cavillo again is slow to get to his feet.
Anthony Drawhorn, the extra defensive back, comes in scot-free, just to the top of your screen, comes in, nobody's around, puts the helmet right in the chest of Cavillo, knocks him down, forces that throw. Saskatchewan playing aggressive, intimidating defense today, and with some confidence.
Cavillo, 2nd and 10. He has 4 receivers wide to the right. He was looking for Thornton again, and Aaron Ruffin was running stride for stride with him, and each time Cavillo gets up, he's very slow in getting back in his feet. The Ticats just hoping that he'll be able to continue getting up.
Drawhorn and Jurison being the 2 culprits putting the pressure on him then. He has taken a lot of heat. The top of the screen, 55. Davies tries to come out, pushes Drawhorn by the pack, but not before Bobby Jurison comes from the offside to the backside of Cavillo and puts him to the turf. Big defensive series that time for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Coming up after a turnover, holding Hamilton to a field goal opportunity.
And Osbaldiston is wide with this attempt, and it sails through the end zone for a single point. A 35-yard attempt by Paul Osbaldiston goes for a single with 11:51 left in the quarter.
Football and the forest industry. Up in Mexico at the 5-star Marriott Casa Magna Hotel in Puerto Vallarta. A 5-star 2-week holiday only $10.96 with Canada 3000 nonstop. Ask your travel agent to book you on the 2-weeker to Puerto Vallarta with CFCW and Mix 96.
Enter Heart Lottery 96 now, and any day could be your day. You'll be eligible for all remaining daily draws, featuring some fantastic prizes, not to mention our grand prize draws. So order by phone or visit any Marlin Travel.
Well, there haven't been many cheery moments at Taylor Field in Regina this year. Two gentlemen who watch almost all the games here, Len Antonini and Larry Mueller, working in the booth with us, statistician and spotter respectively. And fellas, you didn't have to dress up for the game today. It's okay. I know it's been a tough year in Regina. Yeah. First and 10 for Saskatchewan. Robert Mims, the ball carrier, and this time he hangs on as he gets up to the 42-yard line. Joe Montford came over to make the tackle. One of the problems that Saskatchewan has had protecting the quarterback, you alluded to that earlier in the telecast, Dan, they've added Keith Conlon up front, and with Paul Vida moving back to center and Scott Hendrickson at the guard position, they appear to be doing a better job this afternoon.
They really are. They got Vida back in there because he's their long snapper, but just in case with the shotgun. But Henderson Pooch goes back to his left tackle where he's familiar.
Boyko, the intended receiver, and Brett Young was all over him. And Kemp may have been forced to hurry the throw as he was being pressured. Jesse Small was after him.
Boyko slow to getting up after that hit.
Shaking up on the play, Saskatchewan.
But you're right, there was some heat on Kemp, and he was forced to throw that ball just before he wanted to release it.
3rd down and 3.
That's Jesse Small getting an opportunity the past 2 weeks to get back into the ball game. But the guy right there that is a tough physical defensive back is Brett Young.
Boyko, who scored a touchdown, his first of the season in the first half, heads off to the sidelines on his own. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders on 3rd down prepare to kick it away. Nadich directing it towards the sidelines. It will stay in the field of play. And Cody has nowhere to go as Rogers was there very quickly to cover on the special team. A 30-yard punt, 1 yard on the run back.
As Jerry Friesen, the special teams coach, works with the linebackers for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, just doing an excellent job in his first year. And that coverage team did a good job, because I'm not sure we're in Regina. There's no wind.
Be patient. Make everybody bubble around.
Make sure. Most importantly, it's like
they're trying to bring somebody back inside. So make sure you bubble and make sure you make everybody go around you. Okay?
Jerry Friesen talking to Sheldon Benoit about what he wants him to do on those special teams. The pass was intended for Thornton. It will be 2nd and 10.
Just quickly, he was saying be patient when you're sitting there on the block. Make sure that you sit there. Don't make a quick move to the outside. Do not allow anybody to get inside of you. Make them go around you to the outside.
Well, the injury woes are continuing for the Hamilton Ticats. Andrew Grigg has a pulled hamstring, is gone for the game. Don Robinson, a mild concussion. He is out for the game. Roosevelt Patterson continuing to play at the left tackle position, protecting quarterback Cavillo, but he has a shoulder problem. Winfield on the receiving end of the throw, and he's got a 1st down. The tackle made by Benson Donaldson at the 51 of Saskatchewan. And Jason Phillips suffered a hip pointer earlier in the first half, but he is continuing to play as well.
Big play people, big game people. Earl Winfield is both of those. You need it, call on the Pearl. He'll get the job done for you.
First and 10 for Hamilton. The ball is at the 51 of Saskatchewan with 9:26 remaining in the third quarter. Kivio fakes. Now looks to the sidelines, and the catch is made over there by Jason Phillips. He takes it out of bounds for another Hamilton first down. Nick Ferguson pushed him out of bounds, but not before he picked up 21.
Good job up front by this Hamilton offensive line, picking up any heat. Now watch the play on the outside. The ball stone hard. Ruffin makes the play, but he goes to the outside. He doesn't stay to the inside, where at least if he's going to knock the ball down, but be in position to make the tackle. He jumps to the outside. That allows Phillips make the catch, swing back inside, and pick up an additional 8 or 12 yards.
Caveo has 3 receivers on both sides of the field. Earl Winfield was across the line of scrimmage. The penalty flag comes down.
Yeah, so if the flag's down, so call the play now. I don't know what they're waiting on.
Play is whistled, Dan.
Once they break the plane, they can whistle the play dead.
That's what I thought. But the flag laid on the ground for a while, and nobody was actually either blowing whistles or waving hands or standing up and hollering or doing anything.
There were actually 2 flags thrown on the play. Winfield was well across line of scrimmage. The whistle did not go. He came back. Mac Cody also appeared to have moved prematurely, and Cavio attempted to get the play underway, and then finally the whistle went.
Number 49, that's the line judge, Darrell Barron, who threw the flag, but he then did not blow the whistle, so that's why this conversation is taking place at about the 35-yard line.
8:54 is the time remaining in this third quarter. It appeared as though a time count violation had also been called on the play by the back judge, Art McAvoy. Ken Lazaruk is the man in charge this afternoon, and hopefully he now has things sorted out after the conference with his officiating crew.
We had an offside by the official who threw the flag. The time count infraction that was thrown disturbed the quarterback, who stopped his play. We're going to run as first down for Hamilton. First down.
I'm going to go to a night class to figure that one out. I'll look that up in the book. I've got a playbook here somewhere, but I don't know if it's written exactly as I just heard it.
Well, the fans at Taylor Field didn't like the description. Cavio on first down takes the hit. The pass intended for Mac Cody. But Cavio again paid the price. He took some punishment last week against Montreal. And he is continuing to be pounded as he throws against Saskatchewan.
Well, as soon as the defensive lineman can make a good move, get around the offensive lineman, there's no backs in the backfield to help out to pick him up. It's Cavio's responsibility to throw that ball quickly. If he holds on to it for any length of time, then he's going to pay that price. It becomes his fault, his responsibility.
He's completed 19 of 30 for 326 yards. This was intended for Earl Winfield. And Benson Donaldson was defending against him again. So that means Paul Osbaldiston will come onto the field to play again. He missed his first field goal attempt from 35 yards out.
Earl goes off to the sideline, a little upset. Thought he had some interference there by Benson Donaldson. Cavio, not a look of confidence as they both come off, and Winfield having conversation with John Jenkins. It's a matter right now for that team, get some composure, gather themselves a little bit, get back to the style of play that they have been performing for the past 3 weeks.
From inside the 40-yard line, Osbaldiston had missed 11 of 15 coming into the ball game, and he misses another, and here comes Mayfield out of the end zone, and Mayfield along the sidelines brings it back to the 51-yard line. A 65-yard run back by Curtis Mayfield.
There's still time to play the B.F. Goodrich TA Show 'em Your True Colors football contest. Tell us who's going to win today's game and by how much. You could win a set of 4 B.F. Goodrich TA tires or be eligible for a trip or 4 to the 96 Grey Cup. Lines are open till the end of the third quarter, so call now.
You had to. Kuwait oil fire. They call it hell on earth. 500 blazing lakes of burning oil. Man, somebody had to stop it.
1. The need, a weapon to extinguish the world's worst fires. 2. The innovation, an amazing foam that crawls across a sea of flame and smothers it. That's 3M innovation.
Without that stuff, it might still be burning.
We make a difference in the world because we make the leap from need to innovation. 3M innovation.
Come gather round, people, wherever you want, and admit that the waters around you groaning. Soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving,
There's still time to play the B.F. Goodrich TA Show 'em Your True Colors football contest. Tell us who's going to win today's game and by how much. You could win a set of 4 B.F. Goodrich TA tires or be eligible for a trip or 4 to the 96 Grey Cup. Lines are open till the end of the third quarter, so call now.
On section 13.
Well, the Plaza of Honor is a major part of Rider tradition. John Gregory, who coached the Riders to the Grey Cup in 1989, was inducted on Friday night. John Gregory with me now. John, we've talked about this before, but young quarterbacks in Saskatchewan this year, you know all about it, having had 2 young guys named Austin and Burgess.
Well, it's tough to, sometimes it's tough to live with them. They're usually are very inconsistent. This Jim Kemp today has really impressed me. He's done a nice job.
How about the Plaza of Honor? How did that honor feel?
Well, I'll tell you, they just did an absolutely marvelous job, and I feel so honored to be a part of Saskatchewan Rough Rider history, and I thank everybody.
How is life in the Arena Football League, and do you miss the CFL?
Well, I always miss the CFL. I think it's a great game, and the people up here were so good to me. But right now I'm into arena football, and I'm having a great time coaching it, and we had a great team and went to the finals and lost in the championship game, so everything's gone pretty well for me.
John, thanks for your time. Great to see you again. And Don, it's worth noting that when John Gregory walked down here to join me on the sidelines, he got a standing ovation.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks.
Thanks, buddy.
Well, roughing the passer, the call. Philbrick decks Jim Kemp after the pass was completed, and that improves Saskatchewan's field position. Handoff to Robert Mims, and Mims breaks inside the 30-yard line. He gets to about the 27, brought down there by Jesse Small. Well, we heard from John Gregory down in the sidelines, 2 ex-Riders who were also inducted last night, Ralph Galloway, and the man with the hat and the big mustache, Bob Poley.
The big polecat. Hey, you didn't have to tell me, as being a linebacker, you didn't have to tell me about offensive linemen being there. Standing here, they were behind me. The hair on the back of my neck just started to stand up, because normally that's the position that I had seen them when we were playing against each other. Tough guys. Tough guys. Congratulations.
Congratulations, guys.
See, they're acting really nice. They're not nice to linebackers. They don't like defensive guys at all.
I've heard a few things about linebackers over the years, though, too, Kep.
Hey, but you know something? That was part of like Soupy Campbell's fault.
Robert Mims, the injured ball player. Mims has carried 13 times for 86 yards so far and has been a very key figure in the Saskatchewan offense. It appeared as though he was going down and took the hit. He has also caught 3 passes for 59 yards. Robert Mims will go out for 3 plays. He may be a little woozy as he heads off to the sidelines. Darren Joseph will take his spot in the Rough Rider offense.
An integral part, the reason that this team has been successful offensively today, he's been able to run the ball. Jimmy Kemp's been able to utilize him. Good blocking up front. Terry and Henderson pulling a lot of times on the counter trap, has been able to have Kemp use that play action pass, set up his offense, and keep this ball in the hands of the Saskatchewan offense.
Joseph gets the call, and Joseph will get a first down. Jesse Small was there to make the tackle. But the Saskatchewan Roughriders are continuing to move the football with some efficiency against the Hamilton Ticats.
It's been a tough physical game. Those guys up front have been beating themselves up. Now they end up that Jimmy Kemp turns around, he hands the ball up to a fresh pair of legs, and you can see the explosion that he has. Joseph does an excellent job picking up that first down.
First and 10 from the Hamilton 22-yard line. Kemp drops straight back, and the ball is knocked down at the line of scrimmage. There is also a penalty flag, and this usually means holding against the offense. Joe Montfort, who was coming so hard, he ran right out of his shoe.
That's a quick man right there. That's a quick linebacker. I can tell you this right now, I never ran out of a shoe in my whole career.
Holding, Saskatchewan, number 63. First down repeated.
Scott Henderson, big pooch, gets called in there trying to protect his quarterback.
I think he's more comfortable moving over to the guard position. He did play some as a center at Minnesota. But because of the injuries in Saskatchewan, they had to force him into the center position. He's more comfortable in the guard spot.
That's what I joked to Bob Poley about. I said, did they call you and ask you to come back and maybe try to play center for a little bit this year?
He looks as though he could probably still play. 5:46 remaining in the third quarter. Darren Joseph breaks the initial tackle. Joseph trying to go to the outside, stays on his feet, and then is bounced out of bounds down at the 17-yard line. Good second effort by Joseph, finally taken out by Daryl Sampson.
Some poor tackling by the Hamilton defense allowed this to take place, but a great explosion up the middle of the hole and that terrific vision that Joseph has. Watch this, just a draw play, couple of missed tackles. Phil Brick misses him, Ring misses him. Good quick feet, a change of direction, change of ball from one hand to the other, keep it on the outside, keep the ball away from the defenders so they can't strip it.
Well, he came to Saskatchewan from Ottawa in 1995. He played with the Roughriders in Ottawa from 92 to 94. Here's the pressure on the quarterback, Kemp. The man coming up the middle was the safety, Daryl Sampson, and it was finally Jesse Small who got to the quarterback, Jim Kemp, dropping him back at the 32-yard line. But it was initially the safety blitz by Daryl Sampson that flushed him out of the pocket, and then Jesse Small finished the job.
Vida is occupied up front by Phil Brick. They're going to grab, pull him out of there, and then the fire with that safety coming straight up the middle. No one touches him. It becomes the responsibility of Jimmy Kemp either to dump that ball off quickly or just to sit there and take the hit then. Do not run around and get sacked as he did, give up extra yardage.
Jagus is successful from 39 yards out, and the Roughriders have a 12-point lead with 4:44 remaining in the third quarter.
4:44 to go in the third quarter. Saskatchewan leads Hamilton 27-15. A week today, the Green Riders are in Winnipeg to face the Bombers. The telecast at 2 Eastern. And the next day, Thanksgiving Monday, a doubleheader. We start with Montreal at Ottawa and conclude with the Argos and Stamps in a big rematch, Don.
Yes, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders still have hopes of catching a playoff spot. Earl Winfield, the receiver, making the catch up at the 43-yard line. And if the Riders can hang on and win this football game, they'll go to Winnipeg looking to knock off the Bombers next weekend on the Sunday afternoon game at Winnipeg Stadium.
Nothing too fancy about that route. He goes out and actually rounds it off as he breaks out. Good strong throw by Calvillo. Excellent reception again.
Saunders ran into one of his own men. I think it was David Hatt, the right tackle, he collided with. Did he get enough? It looks as though he's just a little short. Third and inches now for Hamilton. Remember how they struggled in the first half. Down at the 1-yard line, 3 cracks to try and get it into the end zone, and they just made it on the third attempt.
Bobby Durson up front, just really trying to jack these guys up, get them excited, stay on sides, don't jump off sides, and get good penetration. There it is.
Jude St. John seemed to move prior to the ball being snapped, and Anthony Calvillo is really upset.
Crucial mental mistake in a big play time. You got to stay on sides. You've got to hold your water.
Legal procedure, Hamilton, number 61, still third down.
But you know, when you take a look at that Hamilton offensive line, the only player who has been there all season for the Ticats has been veteran guard Blaine Schmidt.
Now, you know right there, you can see the reaction of Calvillo. Upset, spikes the ball to the ground. He knows that is one opportunity that just passed them by.
Aaron Ruffin is back for this third down punt by Paul Osbaldiston. Rod Harris takes it on the run. Harris has the speed if he can get to the outside. He's forced back the other way. He gets a couple of big blocks. Now it's Brett Young after him, and Young finally brings him down, but it was Joseph who threw a big block for Rod Harris as he reversed his field and attempted to come back the other way. All that running results in a return of 17.
Great aggressive play by the punt returner that comes up, stabs the ball, and then makes an excellent effort on the return. Not giving up, can't get to the wall. Some sloppy tackling by Hamilton. Poor pursuit angles. Harris gets to the outside. He's got one man to beat, but Brent Young does a good job, and finally at the last minute, able to grab a leg and drag him down.
First and 10 Saskatchewan. The ball is at the 52 of Hamilton. Kemp to Harris. They rule no catch. The ball hit the ground before Harris could get his hands on it. Harris, after all that running, isn't getting a break from his quarterback. Gets him right into the play.
Take a look at it. Some contact going on downfield. Harris gets the right hand out there, tries to scoop it up, but not before it hits the turf. Tries to at least make a good case for it, but the referee's right there on top of it.
Kemp has completed 16 of 24 passes for 211 yards. All 3 touchdowns coming in the first half. Kemp dumping it off. Robert Mims back in the ball game, looking for some blocking help. He'll be close to a first down. Justin Ring is finally there to make the tackle.
Super call by Jimmy Kemp that time. Comes out, he knows it's second and long. Hamilton has been giving him pressure all day long. Dumps the screen off to Mims. Now watch the guys start to form the block up in front of him. Good vision downfield. Excellent blocking. The youngster coming in, the Colin does a good job. And Mims just comes up about a half a yard short.
When you get Mims on a play like that, you see how he is watching the blocking, trying to follow it, make the move off the hip of the man who's out front trying to throw the block.
The great runners in this business set up their blockers and let those blockers do a good job for them.
Third down gamble, and it's Mims again, and he's got it with about 4 yards to spare. Joe Montfort finally tripped him up.
Take a look at this surge off that left side. Good block. Lead block by number 71. Guess who that is? Bobby Durson. They put him in the backfield as a fullback. Leads up in the hole, makes the block. Mims comes in there. This offensive team of Saskatchewan playing well. The defense is playing well. They're not playing and looking like a 3-11 team.
Gene Mikowski is the injured player. He had some earlier problems that kept him out of the Saskatchewan lineup.
If he does go down, then the backup listed is Todd Storm. Storm been around the Edmonton Eskimos, Calgary Stampeders.
Mikowski hurt his knee in the preseason. The University of Saskatchewan product was a 95 draft choice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
You're right, this is his 4th game back, and that was his 3rd start. And a good look there, the guy we just talked about, Todd Storm, coming in to take that place.
So Todd Storm moves in place of Mikowski, who must go out for at least 3 plays. 1:15 remaining in the third quarter. It is first and 10 for Saskatchewan. They are at the Hamilton 37-yard line. Once again, they stay on the ground with Robert Mims, and the power of Robert Mims carries him to the 30-yard line before he is forced out of bounds. Mike Philbrick was finally able to take him out of bounds, but they couldn't bring him down. They couldn't take the feet out from under this very strong Saskatchewan running
Straight
back.
lead play. Boyko leading the charge off the slot back. Gets ring around. A couple of guys trying to drag him, but look at the strength. Look at those big thighs starting to work. No way, baby. I'm not taking it down to the turf. You're going to have to work a little harder.
Pickup of 7 for Robert Mims. And this is his 5th 100-yard rushing game of the season. And Mims will get another first down. He may hit the end zone. He stopped at the 2. 129 yards now for Robert Mims.
Take a look. Mims is just going to take the ball here, come up field. This right here, number 63, Pooch, Scott Hendrickson leads him up. The first guy he's going to see is the safety, Sampson. Robert Mims, quite a terrific effort to play the counter trap that's been working all day long for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
So it will be first and goal for Saskatchewan from the 3 of Hamilton, and this will probably be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Robert Mims has rushed for 129 of the Saskatchewan total of 153 yards. Hamilton, as a team, has run the football for only 13 yards this afternoon. The Riders called a timeout, and Kemp came over to the bench to confer with Coach Daly. You talked with Daly yesterday, Dan, and you brought up the specific point about Mims running for the 180 yards against Edmonton and said, why haven't you been using him more? Maybe you gave him a bit of a hint as to what he should be doing this afternoon.
Oh, I don't think so. I think Coach Daly has a good idea of what he wants to do. He just hasn't been able to do it.
It's Mims again. Touchdown.
When I say he hasn't been able to do it, he hasn't been able to do it because of injury. Now, today, with a couple of guys coming back off that injured list, getting Hendrickson in the position that he normally will play, that left guard, Paul Vida at the center. Good effort up front by John Terry. These guys look like a team to be reckoned with.
Well, after losing 10 of their last 11, including 4 in a row, there were some of these die-hard Saskatchewan fans who were beginning to waver just a little, but the performance of the green and white this afternoon here at Taylor Field, I'm sure, has encouraged them again.
Got to mention him again, the name of Scott Hendrickson. He gets a block down. He pulls out, makes an excellent block on Tom Gerhardt, the outside linebackers, and just opens up the hole for Mims to work it through. Sets the block up perfectly, gets it into the end zone. These guys are just blue collar, roll up the sleeves, let's go to work, let's knock somebody in the mouth, let's have a little fun. They're playing for that Rider pride today, and they're doing a great job of it.
Joe Montfort is the injured Hamilton player. Montfort obviously groggy as he gets to a sitting position.
The run earlier, the counter trap. Mims goes through tackling. One of the things that we're not seeing a lot is Hamilton missing as many tackles as they have missed today. And the touchdown, block down, pull out. Bobby Jurison with the lead. Scott Hendrickson with the lead, also block as he G's out. And Robert Mims does a great job sniffing out the smell of that end zone and gets it in again.
And as Mims crossed the goal line and broke the plane, Montfort coming up was in an awkward position, and I think Mims hit him solidly with his hip and bent his head back and snapped it back, but he's up and walking off to the sideline.
Now see, that's when I will agree. That ball did break the plane. We'll also go back to that other Calvillo touchdown. I still don't think it.
Well, Joe Montfort probably still wondering a little where he is, but appears to be okay as he hits the Hamilton bench. He came to the Ticats from Shreveport. And the point after by Frank Jagus. And it's 34-15 Saskatchewan with 15 minutes remaining here at Taylor Field.
The CFL on CBC. Brought to you by B.F. Goodrich. Show them your true colors.
Not a bad afternoon of work for Robert Mims. 132 rushing yards, 68 passing yards, a total of 200 yards, and a touchdown.
The fifth time this season that he has broken that 100-yard barrier. And it seems like when he has a good, productive afternoon, the Saskatchewan Roughriders put points on the board.
There's Mac Cody on the return. A lot of work for the Ticats to do in this final quarter if they hope to keep pace with the Montreal Alouettes. They'll operate from pretty good field position for their first series in the fourth quarter. First and 10 from the 46-yard line. 335 passing yards for Hamilton. The big difference over on the right-hand side in yards rushing, 158 to 13. Saskatchewan leading Hamilton in that department. Turnovers have also been costly for the Ticats.
Guarantee you right now, when Hamilton running what they like to call the run and shoot.
I have some difficulties. Why do they call it the run and shoot?
You can forget about the run. You better reload because there's a lot of shooting going to take place in this fourth quarter.
DeVille's pass to Cody for a first down at the 45-yard line. Rasevich was there to make the tackle. You know, you talked earlier about the 13 years that Dan Rasevich has played in the league. He was telling us yesterday he doesn't want to go out on a bad season. He'll probably be back again next year.
And look at the effort that's going to take place. This is one of the leading special team guys in the league. Brooks Finley gets down, works hard. Coach Daly said, with the addition of him in this special teams organization, he is unbelievable.
Tabillo throwing deep for Winfield. Incomplete. Benson Donaldson was defending against him, but Earl LaPearl did get his hands on the throw.
Well, Earl said, I'm going to take him deep. I'm going to try to take it to the house, get around him. He said he thinks that if he can make just a little bit of move, Vincent Donaldson, when he plants and has to pivot and tries to accelerate, he doesn't have quite the acceleration. And Earl says, if I can get a step on him, I can make something big happen.
One of Winfield's big strengths is his ability to adjust to the football while it's in the air.
Plus, this guy, he'll battle you. He'll fight you. He'll scrap you. He'll push off. He'll do whatever it takes to make the play happen.
And sometimes go offside?
Well, sometimes go offside as he does, but if we're going to get illegal procedure, I think that's the young guy that just came in, Dave Hack, the right tackle, will get called.
Yeah, Winfield was across the line of scrimmage.
Hamilton, number 63, still second down.
But the play had been called against Dave Hack, the right tackle.
Earl has that kind of opinion a little bit, like, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. and if you don't get caught, then it's not a crime. So, and Earl will do that. He pushes off. He'll move that elbow a little bit, create some separation.
Earl Winfield, number 8 all-time in touchdowns in the CFL with 85 in his career. 73 as a pass receiver. Jason Phillips makes the catch down at the 30-yard line, and this is a first down Hamilton. Ferguson took him out of bounds. That's a 16-yard pickup for Jason Phillips.
Easy pitch and catch for Cavill and Phillips. The thing that must have to concern Greg Marshall on the sideline, the Saskatchewan defense starting to play a little soft, giving up some few things. There is no way that that guy should be standing out there that all wide open by himself.
13-12 remaining in the football game. 34-15, Saskatchewan leads. Cavillo trying to get the Ticats back into it, looking for Winfield. And Winfield bumped with Vincent Donaldson down in the area of the goal line. There's no penalty flag. And the pass was well over Winfield's head. Heath Rylance, the starting quarterback this afternoon, shaken up on the very first play of the game, suffering a knee injury. And he is obviously gone for this game and for the balance of the season.
Well, from what they said, if it's a torn medial collateral ligament, you can't expect him to be back for this season. Between these two teams, you could just imagine the quarterback bones that are in the graveyard that have guys that have gotten hurt through the course of the '96 season.
Safety blitz, and down goes Cavillo. And Bobby Jurison will get credited with the quarterback sack. And for Bobby Jurison, that means he now has moved into a tie with Vince Goldsmith. Number 3 all-time.
Bobby works into the middle. They got the heat coming from the outside with the safety. Van Billingham, Jurison with that great speed. He's built low to the ground, big thighs, big shoulders and arms and stuff. He's able to get good power rush onto the outside. That gives him a total of 130 sacks on the career.
Well, I said he moved into a tie with Vince Goldsmith. How do you get half a sack? That's
I don't know. That's into that break in the plane, half a sack.
Osbaldiston's field goal attempt from 47 yards out. It is good. And it's 34-18 with 12:15 remaining here at Taylor Field in Regina.
The CFL on CBC. Brought to you by AGT, the best long distance, period.
Torn ACL and MCL, so.
Concussion, then this, no one said pro football was going to be easy.
Nope. And someone said today, if I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck. So, but it came back. We're winning the game. This lifts my spirits. Hope we can hang on to this one.
Heath, thanks for your time. Don, back to you.
Well, Heath played one play in this football game this afternoon, and then Jim Kemp took over. And Kemp has the Riders leading 34-18 and completes the pass to Rod Harris for a pickup of 4. It will be 2nd and 6.
And you've got to think that during the course of the week's practice, that Rylance was getting all the reps in practice. Kemp was not obviously going to be the backup, and now he gets thrown into the fire, and he has just handled this pressure wonderfully.
Well, Coach Daly had said that Kemp would probably play this afternoon. Here's Narcisse on the receiving end of his 7th catch of the day, and he is now just 1 shy of 700 during his career.
A lot of heat up front, and Jimmy Kemp's going to throw the ball wide to the outside. You can watch Narcisse working one-on-one against Gary Lewis on the corner. If that ball hangs up at any moment in time, these Hamilton defensive backs are noted to make a break on it and take it back 6 the other way.
1st and 10 Saskatchewan. The ball is at the Rider 46-yard line. 10:53 remaining in the football game. Hand off to Robert Mims, and Mims will pick up about 2 before he's hauled down. But what an afternoon Robert Mims has had, the leading rusher in the CFL, the only man over 1,000 yards, and he continues to pad his lead.
Big, strong back. 5'11", 208.
Ball was on the 49.
Came out of Kansas University. This is his 9th year.
2nd and 7 now for Saskatchewan.
Number 1. Number 1.
Kemp swings it out to Boyko. Boyko slipped as he was making a cut, and the Riders will be forced to send out the punting unit. Well, this game isn't over. 34-18, 10:06 still remaining. And with that run-and-shoot offense of the Hamilton Ticats and the ability to strike quickly, the Alouettes in Montreal can attest to Hamilton's ability to come from behind.
Absolutely. Hamilton confused Jimmy Kemp on that defensive play. They showed the safety blitz, the middle linebacker blitz, and then jumped out there and played zone, forced him to dump it off, then they reacted, caused this punting situation for Manage.
Manage stands at the 35-yard line. One of his better kicks of the day. Cody takes it at the 21. Good special teams coverage by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They don't let him go anywhere after that 38-yard punt. The first play of the game, and Heath Rylance went down with the injury to his knee, and he will get an opportunity now to see what happened. It looked as though initially he was trying to throw to Dan Farthing. Farthing wasn't looking back to the quarterback. Rylance was forced to try and find an escape route, and in the process, Joe Montford caught up with him. And as you see Makowski try to move Montford, They rolled up on his left leg.
And you can see how when he rolled up on that left leg, that hurts him. It just sends a twinge right up your back if you're an athlete, never had any kind of injury like that.
Cavillo looking for Jason Phillips. Even had he made the catch, it would have been ruled no catch because on his own, he ran out of bounds.
I think so. It's the way it is. If you run out of bounds on your own, you cannot come back into the playing field. If you're forced out of bounds, you can come back in and make the catch. It's a continuation of the play.
Ferguson was defending against Phillips, but Phillips ran out of room on the sidelines, and as he tried to get around Ferguson, he clearly went out of bounds. It will be 2nd and 10. Phillips again lines up wide to the left. He's operating against Ferguson. Cody looking for the pass. Terrell Elmer knocked it away from him. And now the Ticats will be kicking, and Cavillo goes down hard once again.
And Hamilton's offensive line having a tough time on protection. Terrell Elmer does an excellent job going up, playing jump ball, gets the right hand on the ball, knocks it down.
Well, both of these teams have Winnipeg as their next opponent. The Saskatchewan Roughriders travel to Winnipeg next Sunday afternoon. The Ticats have a break in the schedule next week, and then they are at home to Winnipeg on the 18th of October. Osbaldiston's low driving kick bounces to Aaron Ruffin. Ruffin breaks the first tackle. Ruffin trying to get outside. He gets away. Loses the football. Hamilton's got it. Paul Osbaldiston came up with it. 8:38 remains in the football game.
Alberta's champion quilts are coming to the Reynolds Alberta Museum in Wetaskiwin. See winning quilts compete for the provincial championship, plus a feature display of vintage quilts. October 11th through October 20th in Wetaskiwin.
Cancer affects 1 in every 3 Albertans. You can help us win the fight against cancer. Get your ticket for the Gold Lottery. You could win the $500,000 grand prize and 2 $250,000 second prizes. The odds of winning have never been better.
Hi, I'm Wally Wano.
And I'm Ron Lancaster.
We compete against each other on the football field.
But off the field, we're teaming up to win the fight against cancer.
You can make a difference. Call today to get your ticket.
Together, we can beat cancer.
Paul Osbaldiston came up with the fumble recovery, but Dan, I think there's something wrong with Osbaldiston the way he's kicking today.
He is. He's hurting. He's right there in the middle of your screen. Now watch him right there. Stop it right there. You can see he's holding. He turns around. He's got the right hand down. He's had some problems with the groin and also with his hips. He's in pain today, but even after that fact, he made enough effort to get over there and recover that ball.
Saunders takes the little swing pass out of the backfield for a first down for Hamilton as the Ticats get a reprieve after the great punt return by Aaron Ruffin. But then he lost the football, and Osbaldiston recovered, and John Jenkins has an opportunity to signal in more plays for his quarterback, Anthony Cavillo, with 8:23 remaining.
First down.
6 receivers set out using Mike Saunders as spread out wide. They try to get him matched up on a linebacker, or in this case, Saskatchewan adds that 7th defensive back.
Cody brings the ball out to the 44-yard line. Dave Van Bellingham makes the tackle, but not before Cody picked up 19 yards. 22,682 watching the game this afternoon at Taylor Field in Regina.
You spread 6 receivers out across the field. That means you spread the defense, and when you do that, you have the opportunity to find that big open hole right in the middle and in front of Van Bellingham, the safety. Cavillo makes no mistake throwing that ball on the money.
Rogers just missed bringing Cavillo down, and then Cavillo throws for Jason Phillips on the sidelines, and Aaron Ruffin was defending against him. Boy, Cavillo was fortunate that he was able to just duck under the charge of Gary Rogers.
And the Saskatchewan Roughriders are very, very fortunate that they had some heat up front by Rogers and a couple of the other guys, because Earl the Pearl was running wide open down the sideline, and had Cavillo had enough time to plant his feet, then it could have been a big score and try to get this Hamilton Ticat team back into the game.
2nd and 10. Pass is complete for a first down to Cody at the midfield stripe. Anthony Drawhorn was there defending against him. It's the run and shoot offense, Kep, but it takes a lot of time for the Ticats to get the play underway.
Well, it does, and this is not something that's just a quick set, quick throw kind of offense. What they're trying to do now, obviously, that was 2nd and 10. They needed to buy a little extra time, try to catch Saskatchewan in a zone defense, and just find the ball in the middle of the pack. And Matt Cody is as good at doing that as anybody in this business.
The leading receiver in the CFL, Cody, now has 135 yards. Cavillo's looking deep, looking to the end zone for Phillips. He's got it. A 55-yard touchdown strike, Cavillo to Phillips. And folks, this game is not over. But there is a flag on the play. It's against Saskatchewan, apparently. Took a moment for Phillips to realize that he could celebrate.
I think we'll have pass interference against.
Legal contact on an eligible receiver. Saskatchewan decline. Touchdown.
A lot of play action pass, sprint out. Now he's going to throw it all the way back across the formation. You can see he gives a little motion. Moves it down, said take it to the house. And there he is, number 2, Jason Phillips, his 6th touchdown of the 96 season.
Ferguson was defending against him, but allowed Phillips to get in behind him. And although he had to juggle it, Phillips was able to take it to the end zone, but he had to wait for the interpretation of the penalty flag before he could begin the celebration. The 6th touchdown reception of the year for Jason Phillips, and they are going after the 2-point convert. Cody in the end zone has got it.
And what a shot that Cavillo took from Alexander.
6:04 remains. It's an 8-point game. Well, Jason Phillips with the touchdown and Cody with the 2-point convert, and the Ticats with 6:04 remaining are within 8 points of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. But 26 of 43 completions for quarterback Anthony Cavillo, and he is now zeroing in on a Hamilton club record for passing yardage in a game held by Joe Zuger, 475 yards. And now 472 for quarterback Anthony Cavillo. 5 plays covered 98 yards. And boy, that interception, or that fumble by Aaron Ruffin on the punt return may loom large in the final outcome of this one.
Here's Troy Alexander right here. Watch the heat that he's going to get on Anthony Cavillo. Open middle, all the way in the back. He knows that he has one-on-one coverage. If he stands in there, he's got to take the hit. But if he gets the pass off, it's going to be 2 points. Great throw, good move inside by Matt Cody. 2 points for Hamilton.
5:59 remaining. Rod Harris, the injured Saskatchewan player. You know, when you take a look at the injured roster of these two teams, you could almost form another franchise in the CFL.
That may be a good idea. We'll expand.
There's certainly some talent on the injured list of both teams.
It has been just a mass unit for both of these teams through the course of the season.
Rod Harris got his foot buckled underneath as he was brought down by Tom Gerhardt. The Riders clinging to their slim playoff hopes. They need a win today. They must win all of their remaining games and hope that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers do not win another game. The Bombers, after their loss to Toronto yesterday, now 7-7. And they'll be at home to these Saskatchewan Roughriders a week today.
Just look in the background. There's another legend, Roger Aldag, the Bulldog himself.
Great tradition here in Saskatchewan. Unbelievable.
Jim Daly, the rookie head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and as you pointed out earlier, basically a rookie coaching staff. Only one of the assistant coaches from a year ago in the same position this year, and that is Richie Hall, working with the defensive secondary. Robert Mims, the ball carrier. The Ticats have to find some means of stopping the league's leading rusher and get the ball back. Jesse Small was there to make the tackle. These two teams, when they met earlier in the year at Ivor Wynne Stadium, had quite a battle, with Hamilton winning 27-24. The Riders tried to come back in the fourth quarter, and their attempt at pulling one out just stalled. Will the Ticats be able to come back and pull one out here at Taylor Field?
Last couple of weeks, they've been the cardiac kids in the CFL. They certainly have hopes and have the confidence that they know that they can do it again today.
On second down, there's Donald Narcisse, and that is a milestone reception that may go for big yards. He takes it to the 50. That's the 700th of the career for Donald Narcisse.
Jimmy Kemp does an excellent job. He reads the blitz from the middle linebacker who had lined up to the left of your screen. It's going to come back. Good quick release. Mumford comes in, inside release, dodges and gets away from Brent Young, and then does a lot of things after the catch, picks up big yardage, and keeps this drive alive for Saskatchewan.
8 catches for Narcisse for 107 yards. Robert Mims again. He picks up about 4 more. Justin Ring came over to make the tackle. Only Rocky DiPietro with 706 receptions, and the retired Ray Elgard with 819 are ahead of Donald Narcisse on the all-time CFL pass reception list.
And coming into this game, Narcisse only needed 702 yards to catch 10,000 yards in his receiving career.
Narcisse on the sidelines, he's got it. Down to the 10-yard line. Concentrating on the ball while it was in the air. Despite the coverage of Gary Lewis, it's a 40-yard reception.
Jimmy Kemp stands in there just like we talked about Cavillo. He's going to take the hit in the shot. Just a little stop and go. The ball hangs up real high. But look how Lewis is. He's running to try to catch up to where Narcisse had left him standing. Does not pick up the football. Look at the heat and the pressure. Gerhardt's there. Also Keith Embry. But they're both very happy after that. Narcisse knows. Kemp's laying on the ground, looks up, sees it's a reception, gives it the high five to the big guy. Go ahead, Narco.
21 of 29 completions for Jim Kemp, 3 touchdowns, and he has passed for 298 yards. Kevin Mason wearing the headphones on the sidelines, conferring with Jim Daly and quarterback Jim Kemp. The Riders have 3 fine young quarterbacks in Mason, Kemp, and Heath Rylands.
And there is no doubt, when we talked yesterday, sitting there having coffee with Coach Daly, he knew that Rylands was going to be his man for the future. He was going to rest this franchise on the production and the advancement of that young quarterback. Now, you see what you've got waiting in the bullpen. A guy like Jimmy Kemp that can come in and get the job done the way he has today.
Brett Young was injured on the play as Narcisse made the 40-yard reception down at the 10-yard line. And Young is being assisted over to the Hamilton bench. Boy, it's been a tough afternoon again for the Ticats. Don Robinson went out earlier, forcing Greg Eaglin to come into the ball game as a regular defensive back. He was slated to be a backup today behind Brett Young.
Well, it's gotten to the point that when you get hurt, you walk off the sideline, you kind of look down the bench to see if there's anybody there that's going to help you take your place as a backup. And there's nobody there. Everybody is already playing. They're already either hurt themselves. So you just have to go. Both of these teams have been playing hurt through the course of this game.
Donovan Wright comes in. It's first and goal from just inside the 10-yard line for Saskatchewan. They give to Robert Mims, and he will only get a yard, maybe a yard and a half before he's racked up. 3:14 is the time remaining. 34-26, Saskatchewan leads.
Jimmy Kemp looking to the sideline, getting the signals. Mason is the guy, the quarterback, holding the headsets on the sideline. He's out with his knee injury.
So Jim Kemp will come to the sidelines to get some instructions on this second down play with 3:04 remaining. Second and goal, Saskatchewan from inside the 10-yard line.
Safety blitz.
Kemp rolls out, looks to the corner of the end zone, and he overthrows Donald Narcisse.
Was going into the 10. Closest to it was Don Narcisse.
Safety blitz by Hamilton comes up front. Jimmy Kemp's going to sprint out to his left, which is his offside, that he just can't get that shoulder turn and his momentum swing around and plant that foot that he can get something on the ball and throw it with some accuracy. Plus, he's being chased from behind. A lot of heat by this Hamilton defense.
Well, Darrell Sampson spent 10 years in Winnipeg. He came out of York University, was a #2 draft pick of Winnipeg back in 1986. Jagus, a field goal attempt of 17 yards. It's up, and it is good. And with 2:38 remaining, the Roughriders move into an 11-point lead, and things are looking rather bleak now for Don Southern and the Ticats. That 5-play drive by the Roughriders consumed 72 yards, but it took some really valuable time off the clock as far as Hamilton was concerned.
Well, that's been the key right now for the Saskatchewan offense, is that Kemp has been able to use some possession drives, make some first downs, keep the clock in their favor, keep the ball in their hand, where Cavillo has not had the opportunity to score. When he has had that chance, Hamilton has put some points on the board. The best defense against that, Jimmy Kemp keeping the ball in his hand.
Pass is knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Kemp was looking over the middle, I believe, for Thornton. Or Cavillo, I should say, looking over the middle for Thornton. And Rogers, I think, got his hand up to knock it down.
Rogers does a great job. He's not getting any penetration on his rush. But what he did find, he picked up the arm movement of the quarterback again, got vertical into the air. That's the second pass that he's knocked down in this game.
In and out of the hands of Ted Long. And that's a pass that should have been caught. And I think Long would be the first to acknowledge that statement.
Even if he had caught that pass, Vincent Donaldson was all over him. He's going to make that tackle about the 40-yard line and still leave it third and 5. Nothing better than the rapport between quarterback and receivers. Look at it.
Third and 10 for Hamilton. Cavillo looking for Cody. It's intercepted. Picked off by Vidal. Vidal picked one off against Winnipeg earlier this season. And he comes up with a key interception for the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the final minutes here against the Hamilton Ticats to keep alive the playoff hopes of the green and white.
Pass that Cavillo had some success with, hit Cody with at the first play or second play of the game. And this seems Bevell with his second interception, as you said, that one he picked off against Winnipeg, went for a 47-yard touchdown. That was his first pick, this being his second.
Hand off to Robert Mims. Penalty flag on the play as Mims attempted to hurdle a couple of down players and went down himself.
Holding to go against Saskatchewan.
2:14 still remaining in this football game. Cavillo 4 yards shy of establishing
Holding,
a...
Saskatchewan, number 15, decline. Second down.
Cavillo shy of establishing a Hamilton club record for passing yardage in a single game.
Bruce Boyko on the hold. Declined, 2nd and 10.
The ball at the Hamilton 44-yard line. 1:59 now remaining with the clock running. Mims, the ball carrier again. Philbrick was one of those in on the stop. And the Roughriders now send out the punting unit. Still 1:49 remaining. The Ticats will get another chance for some last-second heroics. One thing Don Sutherland said yesterday in talking about close football games, he said, we have a lot of experiences here in that area.
Yeah, he really does, and he's not kidding. The games that he's won have been crucial games. He said other teams have had cakewalks through this season, and when it comes down to a tough game that you need to win in the last minute, they haven't had any experience in that. They don't know what it tastes like. His team certainly does.
Third down kick by Matic. Winfield is back on the punt return unit. Winfield trying to get to the outside, but he runs out of room and is taken out of bounds with 1:18 remaining. That was an 8-yard return. During his career, Earl Winfield has returned 11 punts for touchdowns. Only Henry Gizmo Williams has ever done it more often, and Williams is in another stratosphere.
He's completely another area code somewhere. I think Giz has something like 24. He has more
called back
than Earl has that he has completed.
.118 remaining. The clock will not start until the ball is snapped. Cavillo looking to the bench for the signal from John Jenkins, the offensive coordinator. 4 receivers line up to the left. Cavillo for Earl Winfield. Oh, what a big hit, and the ball comes loose. Anthony Drawhorn punishing Earl Winfield.
Earl's hurt. This is serious. I can guarantee you this. That was a shot. That was a great defensive play, but I can't. Earl Winfield is hurt.
Breaking up on the play, Hamilton 1, Winfield.
Boy, you can hear that thud here in the press box. That was a solid blow, and we only hope that it is nothing really serious as far as Earl Winfield is concerned. He's moving his legs. They're checking to see whether there's feeling in his hands, and apparently from the reaction of the training staff there is, because he was able to move his hands. But Winfield reached up for that football, and Anthony Drawhorn was there at exactly the same time. What a great career Earl Winfield has had in the CFL as a pass receiver and as a special teams player on punt returns and on kickoff returns. 85 career touchdowns.
Oh, it's good to see him sitting up. I mean, what a shot. Anthony Drawhorn played it as well as he could play it, just like it's drawn up in the playbook. Comes across, makes a great shot. Let's watch this again.
And more importantly, listen.
Now, if you watch the head, he's out right there.
But fortunately, Earl Winfield is able to get back to his feet, and the Saskatchewan players come over to wish one of the greats in the CFL the best as he hobbles off to the Hamilton bench. Oh, boy.
That's a tough man right there. Give that man all the respect that he deserves.
Time whistled in. It's Hamilton's ball.
We're going to take a look at this one more time. We're going to get you the slow-mo. Now watch Earl Winfield's head. Ball's caught. Good tackle. Look at that drive back. The neck just snaps right behind, and Earl is out. when he hits the turf and gets himself back together.
Long makes the catch and brings the ball up to the 50-yard line. And that enables Anthony Cavillo to move past Joe Zuger on the Hamilton all-time list for passing yardage in a single game. Earl Winfield still very groggy over on the Hamilton bench. And Cavillo was slow in getting to his feet again with 55 seconds remaining. A single game record for Anthony Cavillo. He established a record last year for most passes attempted in a game when he threw 60 times against Birmingham. Cavillo forced to step up, looks to the sidelines. Jason Phillips was there, but the pass was out of bounds.
A lot of pressure coming from behind. LeBrant Robinson doing a great job of pursuing. Cavillo just could not get himself planted where he wanted to throw that ball to the out. Saskatchewan very contented, play a very soft prevent type of defense, make them throw everything in front of you. Nothing gets behind you.
Cavillo has put it in the air 50 times this afternoon here at Taylor Field. Rob Crefo in the ball game, replacing Earl Winfield.
Most Popular Player of the Year award.
511 passing yards for Cavillo. 35 seconds remaining for Saunders. He can't hang on. Aaron Ruffin there defending against him, and Ruffin had better be careful. It almost looked as though he was attempting to taunt Saunders just a little.
Well, there's a lot of jawing going to take place out there, and Mike Saunders, you know, obviously feeling the frustration of today after the big week that he had last week. Mike trying to catch the ball out in the flat, turn. Now, Ruffin's got a few words to say to him, and big Mike Saunders takes a little exception to that.
31 seconds remaining. Cavillo throwing deep for Crefo, and Crefo and Cavillo weren't on the same page as far as the pattern was concerned. Crefo was breaking to the sidelines. The pass was down the seam, and this is a good sign. Winfield up and walking around at the Hamilton bench.
And that's nice to see right there. He's walking slowly, and guys trying to go back to introducing themselves to him again. Let him know if he's okay. That's a tough man. There's not a lot of receivers that'll take the ball over the middle as many times as he does and take the kind of hits that he's taken over his career to get the job done. That guy can play on any ball club anywhere.
25 seconds remaining. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders are still alive in their quest for a playoff berth in the Western Conference, but those hopes could be shattered next Sunday at Winnipeg Stadium when the Riders take on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Second down and 12.
The Bombers losing yesterday to the Toronto Argonauts. The BC Lions are still in the picture. They too have an opportunity to catch the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
What a terrific confidence builder this is for the Saskatchewan Roughriders to go in to Winnipeg next week and play those guys for what turns out to be a 4-point game.
And the faith of the fans in Saskatchewan has been restored after a very difficult season that saw them lose 10 of 11 and 4 in a row. And the Riders come up with a big victory this afternoon against the Hamilton Ticats and the hottest quarterback in the CFL in the person of Anthony Cavillo. But Don Sutherland's club could not get the job done this afternoon at Taylor Field. And they remain in third place in the East. The Saskatchewan Roughriders into a fourth place tie in the West. Now here's Scott.
All right, Don, here's the start of the game. Jimmy Kemp, second straight game, which you didn't expect to start. How did you handle the opportunity?
The same way you handle any opportunity. You go out and play the best you can, and our team did a great job. Obviously, our offensive line played a lot better than they have in the past, and our running game is good, so we had some good breaks, and it went well.
Jimmy, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Congratulations. So this Saskatchewan win, a long time coming, a month to be exact. It keeps the Riders' very slim playoff hopes alive, but that's not the focus right now. This win is.
The CFL on CBC. Brought to you by AGT, the best long distance, period.
Next Saturday, another Molson Hockey Night in Canada doubleheader. Tampa Bay at Toronto, the Rangers at Montreal to start, St. Louis at Vancouver to finish. A week today, the Green Riders are in Winnipeg to face the Bombers, the Telecat at 2 Eastern. There will be playoff implications in this one as a result of the Riders' victory today. And the following day, Thanksgiving Monday, a doubleheader on the CFL on CBC. We begin with Montreal at Ottawa and finish with a rematch of the Argos and the Stampeders. At Taylor Field this afternoon, a relieving victory of sorts for the Green Riders and their fans, their first in 5 weeks. 37-26 the final. On behalf of all of us in Saskatchewan, thanks for watching and so long.
CBC Sports, home of the champions.